It's working.
You can't see me doing my silly dance because the laptop computer isn't running.
No, I see it on the other. I see it right here. I'm behind
you. Oh, yeah, you see it. But this week's practice video doesn't start with me going.
Yes, exactly.
Which is fine with me. I don't know the words. Yay.
There you go. You put it right in the window, so it should be pretty far. There it is.
All right.
All right.
Yay, we are live.
All right, so we'll wait. Louis is just repositioning the wireless, and then we'll start with our warm-ups. Alfwin, can you go? We'll like maybe have everybody grab their swords, and maybe you could go through the rotational stuff with the bar.
Sure. You want just the sword stuff, some torso twists and things as well?
Yep, that would be great. So
right.
We're going to highlight you next, and then we'll as soon as Louis gets out, we can go ahead and start up.
Yeah, just let me know when you want me to start this.
Okay. Just looking like we're popping stuff in there.
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Yep.
All right. So let's go ahead and let's warm up the arms first, and then we'll go ahead and do our normal leg warm-ups, and after that.
This one?
Okay, so I just like to use the sword. It's easy. Start with the
Oh,
sword.
that would be so nice.
You can hold yours here.
Oh, I'm going to hold mine here.
I like to use about 10, 15 of these. And I rotate right down to my ankles, not just my waist, my knees, and everything else.
That's a good idea.
And then the side bends.
Oh, I missed it. Side bend.
Thorn warm up.
Does he do this? Oh yeah, to get ready for like fight like Thorn.
Because he fights like this.
Yes, he does.
Then you gotta practice doing this really fast.
All right.
Okay, so some club stuff. Hold the sword upside down to the back of the top. You can choke up on it, or if you like. This is the club routine. So holding it in front of you. You're going to rotate your elbow back, out, straighten the arm, rotate the arm, bend the elbow, bring the shoulder, and then back up to the beginning. And as you get that, you'll end up with a nice little flow. That gets all your joints working. Rotate the body with it. And then backwards. Clockwise and counterclockwise.
Oh, someone's beeping.
Does someone have an alarm going off?
Yeah, I can hear it too. I don't know where it's coming from.
My bad.
All right.
I don't like going too heavy on these because you want your rotator muscles working. If you go too heavy, then your deltoids are going to kick in. And then do the same thing the other side.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's working yet.
Yeah. So the other hand, right?
Shrunk our video. Probably to keep this connected.
The backlighting makes it a little hard to see.
Yeah, sorry about that. I keep forgetting to put a curtain up. Move this.
Just go ahead and explain it again. There we go.
A little better?
Yeah, lots.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about all that. All right, so everything is going to be a rotation of the shoulder or the elbow. You rotate up, out, bend the arm, rotate down, bend the elbow, back up to the beginning.
Looks like her back. I'm not getting the back.
See that better?
Louis is getting it. I don't get this piece right there.
Can you show us sideways, Alcuin? Stand sideways to your camera? Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
What?
So hold
Go
up,
Okay.
and then back.
Behind, rotate out, do this big
Okay, I
circle.
got it now. So what I was doing, I was missing this
If I
part.
hit my camera, it's your fault.
Like, go up, open
Yeah.
your arm, big ass circle.
Back,
Up,
back,
open,
oh,
big ass
back
circle.
Okay, that's what I was missing. I was missing this part. I was missing the back. And
I
then
think rotate something, make a circle.
Exactly.
For me,
It
it's
does work your
up,
shoulders, though, for sure.
out.
Yeah.
That's how
And I like doing it backwards. Now gravity's working against you for that upswing right at the back. I've had elbow issues in the past, and that was a good exercise.
This is not elbow friendly. Yeah, choke up.
That one's not so good for you.
All right,
Don't
and
like it.
the other one is the mace swing.
Okay.
So you're handing it, I call it and so whatever hand is on the top, you want to put the back of that hand against the ear. So if your right hand is up, you're going to be going off to your left ear. There's a weight's going to drop behind your shoulder. Hand comes behind your ear. You drop your hands down behind your back and allow it to come back around. Want to get your hands far down your back and you can get the shoulder rotation working.
I like this one.
Craven sombrero block.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the sombrero block warm up.
We're mentioning this is a lot like the. I know they motor on to it.
So
Yeah. Same time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hopefully we're not getting too much lawnmower in here.
our neighbor's mowing the lawn. So
Your audio's fine even when you don't talk loud.
perfect.
Awesome.
I like that one. I need to do that one more. Yeah, there you are. Coming over.
You'll see my hands kind of do a circle in front of my chest, kind of like a rowing motion.
We're all vaccinated.
You can come a little closer.
Get over here. The good part is if you ever lose your sword and you grab it by the wrong end, you can still use it.
Yep.
All right.
Look what I had.
All right. All right, let's go ahead and work on the footwork next. So,
Like this.
yeah, that's us.
And the spotlight.
All right. So let's go ahead and let's do get ready. Let's do our normal flat foot squats. Leave your feet on the ground. Bend and back up. Sit on those heels. Let's get 10 to 15 of them. Remember, if we should be trying to push a little bit, you guys, good part is a lot of you guys got a lot stronger by doing these.
It's just
Sit right in there. That's right.
Squat, squat. I learned it in China. They don't sit on like that as a kid.
Yeah.
So I did not. Stuff like
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and let's move on to this one's going to be on the balls of our foot. So this time the idea is to keep your back nice and straight. If you look straight, back up, and then stretch. Push all the way up on those toes. Back down, and then stretch. Try to get it so almost you feel like you're going to fall when you get up on your toes.
man, these are a lot harder when you're not on that nice flat ground.
I know. Actually, I feel these feel better outside for me.
Oh, this.
I can actually grab the ground.
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I mean, I can grab the
Yeah.
ground, but I'm falling over.
More stable.
You find that way too?
I am the opposite.
Okay.
I'm less stable.
I can almost feel like my toes, between my toes
Yeah.
are grabbing the ground a little.
It's kind of cradled.
Maybe I'm just standing on the wrong bump.
Just a little bit.
Flipping my feet over.
Make the indentation.
All right. Let's see how everybody else is doing here.
Getting all the way up on there, which is part of it.
Look like most of you are just wrapping it up.
Hi.
Let's get those 10, 15 in there. Good. How you doing, Eric?
Oh,
How's those feel? Okay, good. Thanks, you guys. You can just give me thumbs up if I call on you.
not the same for you.
I'm all good. I hope everybody's feeling like they're getting a little stronger and more control in your feet. That's what we're working on. All right, let's roll those ankles around a little bit. So take the first one. We're going to go one way, and then we'll go the other way after a few. I know the floors, the hard floors are killing us in the garage. So go the other way. My ankles are still a little bit edgy. Feeling it?
Just hope
Alright.
the grass is less
The
slippery.
wrong direction on my left makes my calf
Oh, grab on real tight.
tighten up.
Alright, so don't do that
Try
one.
the horse.
Yeah, the other foot. Yeah, keep going. I'm not nearly as coordinated with this one.
Everybody's gotta have a bad foot.
All right. So let's go ahead, get in your stance. And I don't care what your stance is. This exercise, again, is to understand your center and control that. So here I am again. And we're going to lean all the way forward onto those toes till those toes engage the ground really hard. Okay? And then all the way back. I don't care if you're on your heel here. You should. And remember, one big piece is if you look at my head is not changing height. Okay? The hip actually, so my hip is here, and then when I go back, I have to change my hip back a little bit to maintain a proper height right here. And again, you should be able to literally lift your foot off the ground and then back forward all the way until you fall. If you fall, I don't care. Just go back in your stance and start over again. Try not to lift up and then go down. It's just back and forth, just like you're in like a gliding rocker. So we'll do this with an opponent, just so I'm going to show you. So if I'm working with side here, I'm very far out of range. In fact, I'll get off the, here we go. I'm really far outside of range. And as soon as I lean forward here, and she leans back, she's out of range. And I can pull her back and I can come forward and then do what you want. So that rocking, you don't actually have to move to actually cause an engagement. So let's do a couple more and then switch feet.
You don't have to move your feet.
Yes, you don't have to move your feet.
You're moving.
You do move your center of balance. Most of the time, my feet are the last things to move. All right, switch your feet. Nice and gliding again. Make sure your head's not popping up and down. Get on those toes. I really want you guys to shift hard onto those toes. We're strengthening our toe strength too. Getting that balance, learning our balance in there. If you find yourself falling forward and you get a lean, take your hip and pull it under you. So remember what we talked about. If I were to hold a sword on my hip here I am, look how flat that is to the ground. And I go back, look how flat that is. Now if I don't move my hip, look how now the point's angled to the ground. Now the point's angled up in the air. So the key is this right here. You see how flat our whole body stays to the ground.
Actually coming backwards, I feel like people are more likely to do this one than the
Yeah, this is a bad habit too. See, again, I'm going backwards onto that back foot, but now I'm leaning. This still changes all your shots. It's not a good thing. So as soon as I fix this, all my shots are good again.
It's all about that axis of rotation.
That's right.
You gotta keep it up.
All right, so those are our warm-ups there. Elfwin, thank you very much. Those I'm gonna probably call on you more. I really like those for everybody. So let's keep those going. And let's get ready for our drills, our ladder work.
Ladder drill.
And this week you get to do them the right way instead of listening to me last week, because Saib is back doing them.
Hey. After Louis fixes the camera. Bad. You can't see the ladder hardly at all.
You good being on camera running?
It was better where it was.
Yeah. Okay.
We're having roller coaster footwork here.
That's good. We can see the whole ladder now.
But
Perfect.
you can't see the feet, which is the important part.
There is also the footwork cam that's way over there. So if you guys find it more beneficial, just turn that one, pin that one to your feet.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go.
I'm trying to see what we got with the camera. All right, so first one up, 2-foot run. I'm gonna start with my right foot. So right, left, right, left.
Keep your back nice and straight.
Oh, we're doing it backwards now. Same foot. This is much harder for me.
It's
Yeah.
weird, ain't it?
Backwards is much more difficult for me. And then left foot.
Backwards gonna suck on it.
Oh, actually, no. It's better. My right leg's stupid though.
Heels high.
You gotta stop, man. I can't go. All right, tripping over the ladder. Off to a great start today. I'm gonna try that again.
All right. Nice, Martina.
I have no space in my apartment, so I have to be very small with my foot.
There you are.
Now you don't. No, I don't. Now it's weird.
Nice. Remember, everybody, let's stay nice and low. Let's make sure that we're in those legs. Don't do this standing perfectly straight up. Don't be up here and like get down. Bend that, get down. If you've been doing this for a while, I want you to go to a place that feels a little uncomfortable lower and really working it. So let's push ourselves a little bit today, folks. That's what I'm saying. Margarita said that after watching all this time that we're all slackers, so we got to work harder. All right.
All right. Looks like we are doing pretty good. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one. Up next is Hopscotch. So don't stand in front of the camera yet.
Oh, yeah, not yet.
Outside, in.
Keep your eyes up.
Sorry.
Keep your hips low.
And don't forget you can go backwards. And the goal here is keep your legs bent, keep your hips low, and not bounce too much, trying to minimize it.
Looking good, everybody. Look at William go, man. Nice, you guys. That looks really good. Way to work it hard. Very good, Haroon. All right, let's do it again. Next one.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one. This one is our basic drop step skier. One in, one out. I'm just going to drop step off to the side.
So remember, that's a gathering step, not a shuffle step. So you should be spreading and then going. Spread, and point right in those corners. Think about those corners.
Shift your hips first before you pick up your foot.
Yep, right there. So put your foot in the left. Now shift this hip that way and point right in that corner. Almost like, yep, right there. Good. Now point in the other corner. And then think about those corners. But don't lift the foot until you have to. So remember, your job here is not to reach out and spread this way, but literally shift that hip like you're falling and then fall into it. And then gather. I'm going to shift this way. I'm falling. You see how my body shifts? And then I go.
And then this one, if you've gotten comfortable with it forward, don't forget to go backwards.
Right. Yes. Nice, Julie Louie. That's the way. That's perfect, Martina. This one you should take in your butt and just falling right like you're sitting in a seat next to you. And then speed them up. This is a nice exercise if somebody's chasing you. Like if Saib was walking at me and she's going to fight me, I'm like, I'm here, right? Here. I'm shifting into the corners instead, getting that head off the line.
And making me constantly have to realign to try and follow him. So I'm undressing in front of the camera.
Are they looking pretty good?
Yep, looking pretty good.
Awesome.
Got one or two people still running, so we'll give them a second.
Go to him. Because he's doing shuffle. Eric, so you're doing a little bit of the shuffle step. So what I want you to do is put one foot in the box. I'm going to show you. So hold on, and we're going to switch back to you. I just want you to get this good. Here I am. I want to take, and I point. Don't see how I just lean? I don't lean the shoulders. I push my hip here, and then I lift my foot. And I spread, and then bring this one in. I do the same thing. You see how I'm leaning? Spread, back in. If you can't do it right away, then do it the other way. So I'll just take this foot, move it over, and then come.
Yeah.
Take this foot, move it over. But ultimately what happens is, see I'm over this leg now, and I lift, and it naturally drop steps. Okay, let's see how you do it.
Give it a try.
That's it, lean over that leg, and yeah, just, see you're moving with your outside foot, right? So I want you to lean a little bit, now lift that front foot.
Right foot moves first.
Yes,
There.
exactly. Up, that you say, yeah, exactly. You got it.
Which, that other one, the shuffle version is.
Yeah, this is my first time with the drop step, so I got to really concentrate to do this.
Yeah, no, that's okay. You got the first two, so now you know what you're doing, and now you can just do them nice and slow. And
Yeah, I
work
know
that
the
drop step.
concept. I just got to work it out.
Yep, no problem. It's nice having you with us.
Well, I would call it practice.
All right, let's go ahead and do the next
All
one.
right, next one, we're gonna do the extra wide version of that. So we're gonna be completely outside the ladder. I'm gonna make an extra wide drop step. Little push at the end off that outside foot. All the way across.
Now go ahead and turn around and show them coming back at you. Here it is coming at you so you can see it. Watch how her body shifts, and she's really, little bit of jump at the end. There's a little push. But the idea is we're getting that wide step. So if I was fighting her, great, go ahead and come at us. If I was fighting her, this is how it would look. Here she is. And she's shooting to my sides. So that's where that step is used. This is a step I pretty much used through my whole career. So let's go ahead.
And this one, of course, can also be done backwards once you get forward worked out. Woo. If forward is
So be
enough
careful
work on
about
its
bringing
own.
your feet together too tight. If you can't go all the way across, then don't worry too much. Even if you're just a little bit, I don't care. That's it. There you go, good. Yes. Watch the footing over there. Come at me this way. Good.
So you can do this with your shield foot
Nice big
forward,
fist.
or your sword foot forward, or both feet square up. You can practice all three of those.
Good, Grimmer. That looks good. I see you got your backwards already. That's good. I see everybody's working on the backwards. So let's go ahead and do the backwards one. Same thing. Drop it in. Drop that back. You should feel your butt almost like you're going to sit into nothing.
That's looking real good, Eric.
And if you do this with 1 foot forward stance, then you're going to find that going one direction is going to be longer than going the other direction. So that's normal.
All right. Way to go, guys. That's everybody's doing a great job. Let's see, Eric. Again, remember, lift that front foot first. Yes, that's it. Perfect. Eric, you're looking great. Coming along. For the people that have been doing this, I want you to do one more time through. Forward. But I really want you to try to burst as far as you can, you two. Wait. And remember, breathe out. Okay? Try to get a little breath out. You don't need to make the noise, but if you breathe out, you're learning how to explode a little better. And you're learning how to breathe. So we're going to concentrate a little bit more on breathing today. Nice work, Gina. There you go. Good. You're doing a much better job finding like that. You're like, I'm falling. Shins. Okay. All right. So remember, Margarita, we want to end up in a stance that your feet are probably about shoulder width. You want a gap in between them. So if you watch real quick, be careful of doing this. and bringing them together. This is not how we fight, right? So it's here, and I'm back in shoulder width. I'm back in. If I can't go shoulder width, then just make them a little smaller. Okay? But always try to end up back in your normal stance. I'd rather you do them well and breathe with each step than do them poorly. All right. Nice job, Haroon. Looking good there. Elfwin looks like she's done with hers. How's Bridget doing there? She gets to be on a nice deck there. Awesome.
So she did some warm-ups.
Okay, good.
I think she may have joined later.
Yeah, it's okay. She's with us now. It's all good. Wonderful. Good. All right, let's do the next one.
Okay, so now we're gonna do that shuffle step version. So our feet start in the same place. Here. I'll show this one this way to start with. Our feet start one in, one out again, and I take that outside one and bring it in the box in front first, and then open back out. Still using my hips to initiate motion. But now I'm moving my feet in the opposite order. So, Eric, this is the one you were doing before. Like we said, totally valid.
Get down into it. Nope. Careful of that. Zoom on me.
And this one can be done backwards, of course, as most things can.
Yeah. So here you go. You're just leaning into that dip, and then you're dropping it. There you go. Yeah, right there. You see how it kind of swings into it? Yes. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. There you go. Real tight. There you go. Fast. Hey. There you go. Exactly. Good. All right. You doing backwards?
Yeah.
So your feet should be really kind of just really quickly, like bang, like a burst in those feet. And again, guys, let's everybody think about breathing out. All right, everybody? Breathing out on each move. Here we are. And relax, don't force it. So this is that part that we're going to work on more breathing, and it'll help our body calm ourselves. We won't have to find a place to breathe in because we'll just do it naturally, and that helps calming yourself. If you want, do them switch foot now. Nice. Is that Bridget?
That's Elfwin.
Elfwin? That's nice, Elfwin. Those are really looking good. Make sure that you're not leaning forward a little bit. I'd like you to get a little bit better posture. I'm pushing you. You already have good posture. I'm pushing you to perfect posture.
So Craig, you can keep your center at the same height a little better. You're raising it a little bit when you cross over. So try to just stay on your feet and shift the weight and then move the foot. Like you're sliding. So shift the weight more before you take the step. There you go. Way better.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's much better. Good. See, now it's almost natural. It's just gliding. This is kind of that skating move. So I worked with Paul one year when we were in Australia, and he talked about doing these little inside C motions, kind of like a gather and go. Or actually, he did outside. So he was like, so he did more of a gathering.
That's
so this foot went out here.
Oh, okay.
So,
that makes sense then.
and it makes sense. It didn't make sense at the time. It makes much more sense now. He just did it a little bit reversed. He kind of went out and in. Here we're doing a gather and out. So
I misunderstood at first and
Yeah.
thought you were talking more like this, and I was like,
Kinda
why
is.
would I do this?
I know.
All
right.
because that's not what we're doing. Cool.
Let's go ahead.
Now,
Next one.
Haroon, when you're shifting
Oh.
your center, shift your upper body with it so it's vertical.
Yes.
And then after you do a couple and you watch your feet, then put your head up so you can get the feel for it when you're not looking, so you're back straight.
For the people that have been doing this for a while, this is one of those that you can practice that's relaxing, right? So here we are. I'm going to relax, and then I'm going to burst to it. And relax, relax, and then burst, okay? This will get you a little bit tighter into what you would be doing in a fight. It also is learning you to relax in between motions and breaths and things like that. We don't talk about that a lot, but in a fight, you have to find those times to breathe and to be able to relax your body and then burst your body. This will help with that real quick bursting cycle a little bit.
All right. So next one, we're gonna do that same shuffle step, but we're gonna add our angle, and then as we do the shuffle step, we're turning. So we're always facing in towards the imaginary opponent.
So go ahead and go at him now. So you can see her going at you. She's doing about a 45-degree angle. Remember, when you step, look at her front foot. Always points the angle she wants to end up in.
It's like, so I'm actually doing this like ballet fifth position thing in the middle, but it doesn't hurt my knees because we're flowing through it. It only twists if you're doing it slow.
All right.
So if you're having to figure it out in super slow-mo, you don't have to get quite as much turn in there if it's hurting your knees, because that's a thing.
Yeah, there you go. Bring that foot back across. Yep, here we go. Turn, out, turn, out. Yep. Louis is going to do it at you.
Yeah, and as per always, after you get it forward, figure it out backwards. This one gets a little wonky backwards, but
Yes.
just because you have to kick that foot behind now while turning.
Think about attacking your opponent's angles.
Yeah. That's it. So I'm going to walk at you, and you're going to attack it each point. Yeah, that's okay. You're still looking at me, yeah. So take that back foot.
Also, since we do have some
Here I am. You
folks that
gonna
haven't been with us quite as long, if you need a slower demo or need to see something again, feel free to tell us. That's cool. We're more than happy to show it again.
Yeah, holler out
Oh, yeah.
so we can hear you.
So here. Front foot goes in the back.
Also important to remember as you're doing these ones and the other ones, when you're at your next step, try to make sure you fully recover your balance
Exactly. So this is where I am.
so that you're ready to start your next move and you're not frozen into with an offset balance.
So this is an example. Louis is going to come at me and do these, and you can see. Oops. Wait. Let me. Okay. You can see what happens. Go all the way to the back. If I'm in front of Louis, Louis to this side. Now he's going to change. And I'm not quite sure what I have to change each time, and I'm not doing the footwork. And Louis is like going into each corner of me. If I don't move, this time just go to either side. If I don't move, he could just do it in place. Here I am, and then he goes. And then I turn up here, he goes again, right? And if I'm just turning my upper body, I'm losing all my hip in power. So this is what you're looking in a fight, is if I only move my upper body, you know you own this opponent. Here I am. Exactly. I can't go anymore. He knows I'm too twisted in my body to develop power or movement anymore. So maybe he just does it twice and he's around me.
Hey guys, I got a personal comment real quick, if that's okay, about
Yeah, please.
you're talking about knees and hips. For me, especially because my left knee is kind of tweaky, well, both of them, It's an aha moment, like how important your hips are to initiate that movement. I mean, when I was trying it slowly, or even just trying it now, if I'm moving, I don't need to show you, but you can imagine if you try and move without your hips, you try and step with your feet and your ankles, I can feel it in my feet and my knees. And I imagine everybody else can too. But as soon as I put my hips in there and use my hips, not too much, like I was doing earlier, there's a balance, obviously, but if I move my hips in it, I just kind of fall into it. And I'm not using my knees and my hips, which for me is so super important. And maybe that's helpful.
Exactly it. Yeah, and Haroon, you're hitting it right on the head in a nice way, so they know. It's the idea is this hip is turning. So here I am, and then if I'm going the other way, all I do is turn a little bit. Oh, so all I'm doing is turning a little my hips, right? Here I go. I'm sitting into that nothing. I'm not like turning here in my knees, right? My feet are actually moving, so I'm turning these.
And I exaggerated it a bit, and even to, and imagining like a hula hoop where I was throwing my hips a little bit, obviously not too much, but that helped me set in my mind, like, oh, wow, there's a difference. And then I just kind of, you try and bring it to center.
No, I really like that you brought that up, because it's really helping people understand that, again, you're initiating everything with our center and not our knees.
Thanks for giving me a sec to comment.
No, please do. Keep it up. This is the best part is a really interactive fight practice. We're all helping each other.
All righty. Next one up is our 3-step. So I'll show it going away and coming back at you. So for 3-step, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, I'm going to just step forward
and shuffle.
And then do that shuffle step. Step forward, shuffle across. And showing that coming back this way if you need it. I'm stepping forward, doing my shuffle across. Step forward. It's called the 3-step because it's 1, 2, 3 is the steps, and then other way. 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
And then eventually that foot can take the place of the other foot.
So here, just step forward
as you speed up.
Yeah, Louis will show you how to do it with a little more range to it. So much range, he's dragging the ladder with him.
Yeah, I tend to slide more.
Don't cross feet yet.
He's doing the more range.
Yeah, trying to get those feet timed at the right point.
You went all the way
I know.
across.
Yeah, I did once or twice. I did. Like that was cross. I'm just trying stuff. Again, there's nothing wrong with trying to feel as nice doing the back step. Remember, he's backwards. Yeah, you're almost touching your feet.
The whole point between all of these is trying to learn how to move your center fast and smooth.
And also break your head off the line of your opponent. So the idea here is if Louis is walking at me, he could throw anytime if I'm just walking backwards. He could throw, my head's in the same line, he's smiling at me because he knows he can hit me. But in the other case, what happens is I might take that step back. See, now he has to change. It's a lot harder to time those. And again, we have to breathe, right? So we're here. So get those nice breaths inside that footwork. The more we practice breath, the more you will do it automatically and the less you'll hold your breath. One issue with holding your breath is you keep tension in your body. So you want to let that tension go so stuff can be smooth. If I hold my breath, and then I'm just almost forcing through it. trying to figure out when to breathe, whatever. But if I let my breath go, in this case, I'm literally taking a breath and breathing as I'm flowing through the whole thing. Nice and slow. Got it. Step back. And then touch feet. Yep, there. Step back. Good. Good. That's better. That was a hard one, ain't it? Yeah. Okay. So now I want you to do that a little bit faster. Turn around. Here we are. We step back and kick, and then fast. So step back. Hey. Step back. Hey. Step back. Hey. Step back. Hey. Good. That's better. You see how you're relaxing in the front, and then it's fast in the second part.
I didn't do it.
Right.
I did the different one.
No, that was the back.
I didn't do the 3-step.
Oh, you didn't? Which one were you doing? Just the gathered one step? Be aware, you know, sometimes, so this step, just the single step back, don't get us quite as much room, right? Where if I want to get away from you real fast, I'm going backwards, but I'm going to shift over here. So I'm going backwards, and then I'm going to shift. There you go. You see how that works? You see how you're gaining a little more range?
Okay. So the trick is not the seat.
So Martina was talking about just doing, and Saib's actually watching you guys, and everybody's looking good. So remember, this is a nice step, especially backwards. If I just do a gather step, I'm not moving backwards very fast. This step with the step in it allows me to take a big step backwards, get distance from my opponent, and also change range. Okay? So this is all about creating that distance between you and your opponent.
Yeah, if we stick strictly to stepping in the next box of the ladder, you're still only getting, you know, that much travel. But if you break away from your ladder and freeform it and do it at whatever size you want, yeah, you can add a lot more in because you have a step on top of it.
So the first step is backwards. It could even be a big first step backwards. Like you can see my legs go really big, and then I'm dropping into this hip, and I'm changing my angle onto my opponent. That way they don't have a shot. Hopefully everybody gets that one.
Alrighty.
You do it.
So next up is the cross behind, which is almost exactly the same as the 3-step, but we're gonna get more side to side range now, because I'm gonna start on the side of the ladder instead of all the way in. I'm gonna step, cross behind, and come out. So this lets me get a lot of side to side.
And you can see now she's just using either side of the ladder, almost like we did in that drop step or in the gathering step. So here we are, we step here. Step.
Like because you're actually allowing the feet to cross instead of just coming together or coming in line front and back, it gets you more range.
So if people have been doing this a while, I'd like to see it really big. If you can get 6 inches on either side of the ladder, that much better.
We're gonna go step in the front first.
Yeah, it's a cross behind, so step. The 3-step, but with your legs crossing.
There you go.
And then this one, you can do backwards. When you go backwards, your feet are going to cross in front instead of behind, because you're stepping back. It's like I'm here, I'm taking that step back, so now this foot is clear to just swing this way. Step back, swing in front.
All right, see how everybody's doing online there. Ooh, nice, Alfwin. Those are good. Remember, dig down into those legs a little bit. Sivert, keep that eye up. You don't need your looking at the ladder anymore. All right, Eric, let's see what you're looking at. I'm gonna have you hold that. We're gonna watch you for a sec since you're our new person. Let's see how you're doing. And this is a different step, so. Yeah, step forward. There you go. Just take the first step, take it perfectly forward. There you go. And then sweep your foot over. There you go. Good. And then forward again. So don't step to the 45. Step directly in front of you. Okay?
I graphed it out.
What did you do?
Look at my camera.
All right, hold on. Got to find you. There's lots of people on today. Go Go ahead. Actually, I'm going to have.
Yeah, I was like, the participants list won't help you here.
Nope. Oh, she's right on top, I think.
Okay, so I'm going to spotlight you while you have that up.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. I love it.
The floor is lava.
Ah.
Well, that's for me.
Ah.
Awesome.
That's really good. I like those.
All right, Eric, we're popping back over to you.
I might actually end up getting you some, having you
Yes,
send
that
me
was
some
it,
pictures.
Eric.
That's it, Eric. You're looking good there, man.
Yes. So
I've
that
done
was-
almost all of them, Bronis, so I can send them to you.
Oh, please,
Yeah,
please do.
So did I.
Oh, awesome. Oh,
Like
you guys.
dance moves with the little feet.
Yes, you're actually, that's Martinez over here is like started naming the dance moves based on Broadway stuff. And then we're like,
trying
hey.
to figure out how to graph the feet, and none of us knew how to make dance foot diagrams.
So,
The
no, that's
45
awesome.
in particular, I do the dark feet.
Nice.
So
That helped a lot there, Bess. Thanks a lot.
You're very
Perfect.
welcome, Eric.
So a tip for Eric and Haroon,
Double feet.
because we've been describing it like every week, this might help out. But if you're higher on your feet and your hips are up higher, then when you go to cross, you're gonna twist your hips, so they're gonna end up turning. And if you bend your knees a little bit and keep a little bit lower when you cross, you can keep your hips straight. So that might help out a little bit.
Yeah, so that really kind of gives you guys, that's a great note is from Louis, because 100% the idea is we want, in here, we can do stuff with our hips in the right direction, but he's 100% right. If you're already standing up and you start shifting over here, then as soon as this turns, your hip turns. Where if you're down here, as soon as you're leaning in here, you don't need to turn your hip. You got a little more flexibility in there. So that was a good one, Louis.
There's
Thank
more
you.
freedom of motion. All right, let's take a peek. Looks like most people are doing all right. So I think we're gonna go ahead and
Yep,
jump
step
to
forward
the
and
next
then
one
right time. Yes, there we go.
as soon as Louis finishes his run.
That's it. It's almost like you're fighting.
All right, next one is our 4-step.
I know it's hard.
This
when
one
somebody's
is
reacting to
basically
say
just 2
something.
drop
I know,
steps
isn't
in
it?
a row. So I'm on the side and I drop step together, drop step again.
But this
1, 2, 3, 4. And as that speeds up, you do a little more, gets a little more shuffly. But it's really just 2 drop steps on top of each other.
All right. Which one are you doing?
4-step.
Oh.
And try to recover your balance at the end of that motion so that you're not committed to going back because you started penduluming.
Ready? Yeah. And then as you get better at this one, you could actually add a little bit harder shift and make it bigger. But remember, get into those legs. And you should feel like you're almost falling all the time here. A little lower, Sivert. I'm pushing you today. Yes. That's the way.
Looks like you're wearing the grass out in your yard, so that's great.
Yeah. Nice, Craig. That's it. So if you're when you feel comfortable with these, I really want you to push that falling step and get a little more distance. Oh, nice, Grimmer. That's looking better. You working hard? That's it. I want to see that heart rate up there. Not terribly up there, but some. All right.
A healthy up there.
Let me see what Margarita.
As you get more comfortable with it, you can do more of these drills on the ball of your feet.
That's it, Margaret. Exactly. That's a good way to do it. At first, if you're not sure, just go ahead and take those steps. And then next time you do it, I want you to get down a little bit more. There you go. Remember, as we're stepping, your hip should be over the foot stepping into the ladder. So here I am. The hip is here. Look how my hip stays over my feet.
Nice,
Okay?
Yannick.
Now, you're reaching with your front foot. When you do this, I want you to start with a little. You see how you want to go in? No. So, yeah, just lean here, into the ladder, and then stop. Yeah.
Where's the charge pack?
Yeah. Yes. See how smooth that becomes?
I looked at the charger area. It's not there.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Everybody knows this exercise gets you ready for something that looks, if you're tracking your opponent. So this gets you ready for, literally, here I am. I go more than a couple feet, okay? And then if I'm doing this, I could throw a big back foot shuffle in here. Here I am. And you can see, all of a sudden, it's small and then way over. So you can use your ladder. You can take a couple feet and then kind of jump over it. So what we're doing is we're taking that small shuffle, and then at the end, we're adding a cross foot across the ladder. So we'll do it really slow. Shuffle, shuffle. Right? Here I am. In, out, big. Cross.
So change the tempo in the middle of a fight.
Yes, that's how you change the tempo in the middle of a fight. Perfect, Louis. What that does is it changes, even if Louis is keeping up with me, all of a sudden what happens is I change that tempo into a big one. I'm on his corner now. All right, let me see how everybody's doing. Exactly. This is a good one we're learning actually to change a little bit of tempo in this exercise. You can do this sideways across your ladder. So if you want to practice this, here I am, in, right? Here I am, in, big one.
7 years.
In, big one. Or go, make it a little easier, go right on the outside. So what we're doing is now we're adding a layer of complexity, but they're all steps you know how to do already. Okay? All right, go ahead.
All right, so now let's get into some more strictly agility-based things here. We're going to do all of our in and out activities. So we're going to start with lateral, so sideways. I step in, out. Next box, in, out, forward and backward. The goal here is to speed it up as much as you can while keeping good form. Moving to your left one time and moving to your right one time, or more times, but at least once.
Nice, Martin. I switched my feet at the end by accident.
I didn't see the beginning.
You're so vertical. It's so good. Your back is just like,
I know,
vertical. So great. It's great. Sorry, I love it.
So this one you can literally use on an opponent as well. So again, I'm trying to make sure you guys understand why. It's not only agility, but if me and, I'm going to let Saib change.
Hold on, I'll get the video. Just a second, I'm slow. There we go.
Awesome. So all of a sudden, Saib coming over. If I'm way outside and I want to put a little pressure because Saib looks too relaxed, I might go. You see, she's laughing because all of a sudden I was like, oh, See ya. So now I know she's gonna fall off.
If I'm a runner, I'm gone.
If she's a runner, she's gonna run off. So I might do that on purpose. And now she feels bad. She's running off. Now she's running off. Now she's not running off as much. And now I change it up.
Because now I'm convinced you're not actually coming for me.
Exactly. So what's happening is I learned what she does. I changed her by making her feel more comfortable, like it was all a fake. And then I turned it into the actual technique.
Yay. How are we looking, Louie? We ready for the next one, or we still need a minute? Alrighty.
All right.
We will go ahead and move on to the next one then. So this is our in and out, but we're going to go forward and backwards this time. So this is actually kind of like hopscotch, but doing one step at a time instead of hopping. Step out to the side, step into the middle.
And pick your foot you're starting with first.
Yeah, it should be left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right the whole time. Or if you start right, right, left, right, left, right, left. You don't have to double up any feet for this.
Do you have to have T-Rex hands too?
Yes, T-Rex arms are required. All right, it's proper form. Hey, you're gonna have to. So.
Take the foot. There you go. And then up. And then in.
Into the next
Same
one.
foot.
The outside
and
are
up.
next to the rungs.
There you go.
The inside are no, next to the rungs. Now in.
Yeah. In.
1, 2, 1,
Out.
2.
Out. There you go. In. There you go.
There you go.
You got it.
Left, right, left, right, left, right,
Hey,
left, right. There you go.
I had an idea for you.
Yeah.
Based on what we're talking about, and since you're already doing it, some of the others, like this one has a flow.
And then if you went the first time starting with your left foot like I did, do it again, still forward with your right foot. It'll blow your mind.
It does.
Doing one, doing one.
I realize how bad I was at this.
You get a flow between them, and then I start making, since you got the energy, do whatever they are, do 2 forward and 1 back. 2 forward and 1 back.
Required T-Rex arms.
You see what I'm saying? What I'm trying to do is, because everything you're,
Well, if I do threes, then it'll alternate.
yeah, because what I was seeing in the fight is everything you're executing was good, but every one of them ended. You do it, you end it, and then you do another thing and end it. And this way, maybe you can go flow, flow, flow.
Hey, I'm getting better at
Does that
those.
make sense?
I'm excited.
So,
Remember to breathe, because I'm not.
what our fights did was ended up putting in, like, how comfortable with this.
I'm going to try this breathing this time.
And then it starts getting uncomfortable.
Whew.
It's like telling somebody to do this. Like, right. It becomes uncomfortable after what happened. Yeah. So they pushed me into a place where everything turned into.
It's interesting. You know, just breathe through it.
You can try.
You let it take you there. What I had to learn,
All right.
every time you did a thing, you remember the first one,
Seeing how everybody's looking.
pressure on my elbow to get my hand down. And then what I didn't realize is I couldn't, all my shots were shitty. It just it's not. It's because I pushed my arm down. So what I learned.
That's the way, Margarita.
My arm forces me to. You push my arm. Oh, that's a reminder.
Yeah. Try to remember. Oh, Bridget, you're looking great as normal.
Push became a reminder.
Really nice. Haroon, that's nice and fast. Great job.
That was my. So like you're saying, you're getting this foot back.
So remember, Margarita, try to end up in the middle. Right now, you're putting weight on one side or the other. Try to balance your weight on both legs evenly.
It should be.
Germanicus, that looks awesome.
So I'm gonna keep it up.
You have to tell us about your gator later
Outside.
and how the breathing is.
Yeah, it's smart practicing with it.
Awesome. You're looking really good, brother. Also looking like you're losing weight.
And I like that you're doing it forward and backward continuously. Like that's
I know.
Take
awesome.
that into context. They're doing what they do. You're doing what you just learned. Right? So you're practicing and you're fighting. And so you have to cut yourself slack.
Good. It's hard. Is that okay? Backwards hard on the legs?
I can see it.
I know. It's good though. It's building strength. So.
Right.
Really smooth.
Nice, Derek. That's the way to go, Blue. And your back looks so much better. It's almost like you learned something all these months.
Like practice helps.
As soon as you lean over when I see you fighting somebody, I'm just gonna walk over and take my stick and hit you right in the ass. Okay? Right in the duck butt.
You You stayed inside for
All right.
5-6 seconds.
So
Never laid still. And the
now
rest
we're
of the
gonna
time,
do all of our little jab jump based
that pressure
stuff.
stays
So
on
first,
all the
just
time.
basic jab jump. I'm moving to my left, so I put my left foot forward. I go in,
Especially when
out. Next one.
And look how her body goes in and out of that line, and over the line, under back out. See how her body goes with it.
ring sticks up,
So
you still have
this
to
is a really, I shift forward and I'm just literally dropping and then I shift back.
This one works here.
Forward,
This one's
back.
working here.
I'm just, my hip is forward, now my hip sits back.
At that point, at the beginning, they can't.
And as you speed it up, it will be smaller than when you do it real slow, and that's okay.
Comfort zone. Yeah.
Nice.
Push the
Martina,
center.
your back is
And once
looking
you've
good.
done your
Make
left
sure
foot,
that front foot
do
doesn't
your
pull.
right foot, or vice versa.
Ah, good.
So I was always pressuring. I was always
Always gotta get both sides.
And make sure that front foot doesn't turn in, because a lot of times when we do this, we want to hop in like this, we turn our hip. That hip should be square, or what, however you're using it.
And don't just think about the front foot. The back foot will turn out on you without even realizing it and causes the same issue.
And that issue causes your sword to move differently. So as soon as you turn your hips, if I'm here, it's easy for me to turn, allow my hip to go. If I'm turned back a little, now I got a slight rotation on the sword. I will do this on purpose on make people turn for me. So if I want to be careful with Saib here, what I might do is press her over here to get her to turn. I might pressure her with a little bit of jab step right here and see how she turns. Now I have nothing to worry about. So I can literally do this now.
Now my feet are pointing this way, not
Right.
even at him anymore.
So I might do this. So now she's totally crooked and very difficult. So the idea is this is all about being able to manipulate your opponent. This is not actually about hitting them right away. It's you push them. You push them one way, see what they do. Maybe push them the other way, see what they do. And see which one worked for you. And then you make them do it, and then you do something different. This is how we build movement into building that fight. A lot of people want to apply a fight on somebody. What I want all you to understand is this is building a fight. We're not in a huge hurry to kill our opponent. I'd rather make sure I kill my opponent as efficiently and safely as possible. All right.
So next one, we're gonna start, again, I'm moving to my left, so I start with my left foot in, and I'm gonna switch feet. We're doing the switch foot now, and then I go to the next box, left, right. In this one, your body is trying to stay straight, move basically in a straight line over the edge of your ladder, and it's just your feet switching underneath you.
And if you look, she's not really twisting her hip in this one. So don't do this. See how my hip twists? Because then you're changing your blow both times. This you want to keep nice and even. And work down the ladder. My hip's always pointing at my opponent.
And we trip on the ladder a lot for this one. Awesome.
Again for
Go
the...
both directions.
And yep, let's do it the other direction now. And you can see Saib's hips perfectly square. That's the way. I know it's hard, ain't it?
You do this way.
So there you go. Good. That's better. Those hurting your knees? Or just hurting your upper legs? Okay. Be careful. So when you do those, make sure you're not fully bent. Get a little bit bent. Smaller. Forward, back. That'll keep it from
So bend more.
bend more. Okay. Again,
Sorry
Martina.
to hear about the kneecap. Yeah, resting is a good plan.
So I'm going to go ahead, Saib. Oh, you're on us? Okay. I'm going to show real quick. Everybody has seen this. There's a couple of new people. I just want to make sure they know. I can do this in two ways. One is I'm going to do a quick switch foot on Martina here and see the way her body goes. So she wanted to fall back, put all her weight on that back leg is what I saw. So I go back for a second. So I might just do a switch foot. Okay? Knowing that she can't do anything else with that leg. Switch foot. You got it. So now here, if I throw this leg shot, I barely reach it. So now it's easily to reach because my hip ends up a little forward. Again, I didn't do this. I didn't lean that hip. I kept that hip flat, even here, because now I can turn it and throw power. If I turn that hip, I don't have any more generation of power. It's all in my shoulder. If I keep it straight, bang, now I can pop. I can pop that hip on the throw. This is really important also for people that fight funny foot, is you don't want your hip. You want your hip in a place where it's able to create that turning motion. Otherwise, you have to generate all of that force.
Yeah, move that way for them to see you.
Otherwise,
Will you
have
throw
to
your
generate all
shot?
that force. What's that?
Will you throw your shot as you're stepping though, too?
Yeah, on this one, you could literally, here I am, bang. But see, even there, I'm here, and then I throw.
It's slightly after the jump.
You could do it. You could do it either way. If you feel good about it, you could throw a hook. Me, if I'm throwing a regular leg, I'm bang, because I want this here, and I'm going to drop and turn my hip at that point at the end.
All right. How we looking? You ready to move along? You think so?
This is one that you could try on the Pel as well to see where your generation of power comes.
Okay. The next one, we're going to go into our regular sort of jab step configuration. Now we're going to do the jumping 2 forward. So I'm going to go forward 2 rungs on the ladder and then back 1. So it's a big forward, small backwards. Big forward, small backwards.
So remember on this one, again, this is all about shifting your balance. It's not about pushing with your back foot so much as you get the back foot as you're falling forward. And then shift back. Shift way forward, hip back, and just fall into it. Shift way forward. You get a little jump on this one. This one becomes really easy to get in the bad habit of shifting and turning this foot in. Again, our hips are not square, we're in trouble. So try to keep that foot. Even if you concentrate on your back foot being in the right place, it works too. Because your back foot, if it's in the right place, your hip is still going to be good.
Yeah.
So some people concentrate on that front foot, some people need to concentrate on the back foot.
I was the back foot. Thinking about the front foot, I would concentrate on it all day long and still get it wrong every time. And as soon as I put the focus on my back foot, bam, fixed. So,
real quick, Rongvelder pointed out that he concentrates on his back hip, so he pushes this hip. I don't even think about this hip. I think about this hip. Okay? So it's not even so much a feet as I'm going to keep this by pushing this hip because I want this sword ready.
And then go ahead and switch to a funny foot stance and do it again for sake of evenness.
I've used it quite a bit. I've used this in actual fighting, and it is actually very effective.
And then to please the Rongvelder, we do it backwards.
I'm the mean one.
You are the mean one.
Again, your body should be perfectly straight all the time. It's not that hard. Then keep the knees bent all the time. So as you go back, don't stand up. Keep those knees bent. We've all been working hard. Don't give it up.
And you can do backwards on your funny foot as well.
And then backwards on your funny foot. Because Simon and Rongvelder are mean.
The worst.
Haroon,
for me again here. Yeah, thanks. I was about to reply. For me here again, it's butt first. Like obviously the idea is to bring it back into the whole body's unified. But for me, if I try to use my legs and my feet first, not only is it slow and awkward, but I can feel it in my knees and my feet. Like as soon as I use my butt first, the whole rest of my body goes and it's fluid.
So one piece on that, Haroon, when you do that, when your butt, be careful not to collapse into the V.
For sure. And that's why I tried to start off by saying, and then bring it back in.
Right.
But for me, it's a real aha moment. Like, no, idiot, use your butt first, and then adjust rather than using your knees. And
Yeah,
Use
the
your
wrong
butt,
Walter
but
puts
bring
it,
your
you're
whole
like
stack of
sitting
books.
into that empty chair.
When you say use your butt, you mean push with your glutes, right?
Go ahead, Harun. Me, I use it as. Go ahead, Harun.
Sorry, no, I need to unmute. Yeah, if you're going forward, yes, glutes first. But like Bronis was saying, almost sit into that chair a little bit, almost as if you could pretend you're 90 and all of a sudden your hips give out and you go backwards. It's like that, but not but better.
So go ahead. I'm gonna show. We're on me already.
On.
So here I am. All I do is look at. I'm sitting. I take this. I sit here. So wait, let me get into jab here. Here I go. I start shifting back, and then I just shift back. You see how my
all motion initiates with the pelvis, as my modern
right.
dance
If I
teacher would
don't
say.
shift back, here's what happens. If I don't shift and I try to push off the front foot. See how I get a slight lean first? We're trying to get that lean out of there.
If anyone remembers our stack of books analogy from like a month ago, this is that. Take the whole stack with you. Don't let it tilt.
Right. So we did. I think we did. I'm going to use side because here we are. Right. I got the water glass. Right. So if I tilt and then all of a sudden it's hard to get that water glass, but it's like here I am. Then
your body is the glass of water.
Your body allows that nice smooth action. So really, again, everybody, like we talk about, we're really just learning how to control this center. So if I move my center here, now I'm going to get my foot back under my center. If I move my center back, we're going to get that back foot under the back. We're going to cover a real quick part of movement at the end of all the drills here, just on how to move generally.
We got one more ladder drill, and we can roll right into that.
Go ahead.
So our last one is our turning step. So I'm facing my ladder. I'm in my regular stance, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. I'm going to step with my back foot every time. Put it in the ladder facing down the direction I want to move. Then I'm just flipping back around and getting back in that same stance. Back foot, flip around.
Make sure you keep your hips low so you can turn your feet. That'll help you not bind up your knees.
And if you're having trouble or hurting your knees trying to do the full turn, make it more of a 45. That's cool.
Yeah.
Just trying to get it's another way of turning and moving around your opponent so that we're not doing all of our fights in a straightforward back. And then once I've done it, stepping with the back foot, I'm going to go line up the same way, normal stance, 1 foot forward and back. And now I'm going to do it again, starting with my front foot. So my front foot is now going to step in the ladder, turned facing down. I'm going to flip around back into my stance. Front foot faces down the ladder, flip back into stance.
Pause when you get to the outside of the ladder so that you know you got your balance back. And more advanced if you want to stay on the balls of your feet the whole time. It's harder.
And then if you're feeling real good with that, go ahead and flip your feet to whatever your funny foot stance is. And do it again, back foot 1 time and front foot 1 time.
Finish yourself. You're a lot farther than me.
Eyes up. There you go. Supporting your shoulders.
Better.
It's good work. Eyes up is good work for the peripheral too.
Yeah.
Because you can still see it.
Like you said before, it doesn't really matter where you land, it's how you move. Yeah, that feels better, doesn't it?
Yeah. That was good. That's it. Keep your eyes up, Grimmer. Remember, you're a big man. Let's use it.
Grimmer, make sure your first step is facing the right direction. Yes.
Use the medium voice, it'll pick up from where
it's
you're
like
at.
we've got mics right here. You can just like walk.
Yeah, the mic actually picks
yell
up
at
really
it.
well right on the
From
ground.
where you're at, it'll pick you up fine.
If you want to kill your mic. I've been talking over there for a while. That's why we actually had to start being lower because they were here at 30. It's a really nice mic.
Goofy foot is crazy harder than non.
I agree.
Yeah.
So the one reason why we do a little bit of goofy foot, everybody's like, okay, it's not something that we're going to be in, but later on, as you get better and better fighting, it really doesn't matter what foot you're on. Sometimes I'll be out here, I'll be fighting, and I'll change it up to get different pressure, and then I'll be over here, and then I'll change it up here, and I could be coming in with either foot at any given time, right? So I switch between all these, which adds a layer of complexity to my opponent's thought cycle. The more I can make my opponent think and change, the more it's difficult for them to make decisions. So while he's trying to think of what I'm doing, he's not able to think about what he wants to do against me. So, but if I just stand here, now he's like, oh, I can hit him in that leg. I'm going to throw the inside leg. But if I'm like this, that leg's going away. So he has to change all the time. So the reason why we're practicing both feet is because sooner or later you break the rules and then you're able to do whatever movements off of either foot. It's almost like being ambidextrous with your hands. Now you're going to be ambidextrous in your lower body.
Yeah, and that is the end of ladder drills. So you had another thing you wanted to roll into.
So before we roll into a little bit of the falling Pels, we're gonna do a couple of the ladder drills on the Pel again, and we're gonna do some of the longer jumping drills on the Pel today. We did regular Pel rotational stuff around the Pel last week, so we're gonna do some of the long dropping drills and breakouts. But before we get into that, let's talk about standard movement again. We went over this a couple weeks ago, but this all fits inside. I'm not going to go over it too long, but this all fits. If I'm going to go backwards, I don't step first, and then my body leans. But if I go backwards, I just let my butt, and then you notice I'm just crossing, just taking normal feet. There's this understanding a lot of people have that you're like, never cross your feet like this. That, the trick is, the big piece is, if you're close to somebody, you have to be careful when you do that. But the idea is, if you're just holding and comfortable, you can take whatever crossing feet you want and stepping forward. I can step across my feet. We have a lot of people that believe it's like step, bring it up, step, bring it up, step, bring it up. In a lot of ways, that becomes very restricting. But it also depends on what your opponent's doing. If my opponent's close enough that I step and he can hit it, then I have to think about it. It might be a smaller step. It's like, okay, my opponent's close enough. I'm going to take this step and I'm going to make it a really short step. So it's harder for them to hit those legs. But all of that movement is dictated. Look, I want to go forward. I don't just move my feet to go forward. I'm literally doing these dropping. You see, look at my body is over in pulling me forward. My feet are catching up. So here I am. If you can feel this, start rolling over these. And you could literally, it's that fast. It's also that hard to see because here I'm coming at you. There I am. Here I'm going away. All I'm doing again is sitting down a little bit. Small feet. All of these have to be done very small footed, because if I take a big foot while I go back, I'm stuck. Now I have to really shift back. Oh, and I'm stuck again. All right. These feet have to be super small, almost heel to toe each time. And that allows for that movement. Good part is, you're going to go where your hip is. So I might start going backwards and I might drop this hip into this corner. All I did is I dropped into this, moved this hip over here. And we can do that I just literally, you see, I'm dropping here. If I point over here, I pull my hip that way and top of my body, and I drop into that angle. Okay?
Man, that is so huge for me. I mean, I'm doing it as you're describing it, and imagine and the difference in energy when I'm using my feet rather than using my body to fall into it. Imagining myself like chase somebody around the field, it's so freaking tiresome. But if I use my body and my hips to make that happen, I'm going down the driveway here, and it's freaking effortless. I can't, the difference is amazing.
Yes, and that is
crazy.
The good part is this is just like dance, right? We flow. This is creating that flow. It's like I can change speed. And right?
Camera, you're about to run into.
I almost ran into a camera. So we can change speeds. We could start out nice and slow and a burst and then slow back down again. This works really nice when somebody's chasing you. So here's Saib. She's going to chase me. You guys, she's going to get real close to me. I hate these people. How do I get away from this person? I start falling back. She can stay with me, right? Now watch what happens. There, she's touching my hands again. And I just changed tempo. I know. So I'm going to do this
like
straight back. Ready? Here we go.
Louis just going to move the camera for us.
There we go. Good. Here we go. I started, and then it changed tempo. And slow it down and change it again. Okay? So the good part is you can change the speed at which you're moving. So that allows you to break that distance a little easier. Same thing. I could change speed and then change out. Here I am. And then I just break out over a hip. But allowing your body to flow like this, which you guys all are doing already in these drills, but now just allowing, this is easy. You practice this just going backwards, small, tiny steps. Now I'm going to go forward. Now I'm going to go backward again. Good. So the good part there is you could train that with somebody and learn how to create that connection. Okay, and then after you're good at that, then you could change. I could go a little faster, a little slower. Her job is to keep that perfect distance. Because what happens in a fight is by changing that tempo, I change your distance if you're not paying attention. And then I use that. But if you're always in that perfect, how many times you run into a pole armor and they throw you down? Well, that's because you're running into their power. They can manipulate when they're next to you, or they'll butt spike you. But if I'm this way from the pole arm all the time, and I take a shot, and then they'll want to get in, and then they change speeds up, I'm always staying at that 1 foot distance. I can start throwing lines, vertical lines. Remember, we follow the line of the shaft of the sword or the shaft of a spear or pole arm. So here she is like this. I'm going to throw that same line.
He's like, I don't have a pole arm around, but we'll pretend.
So here we are. I'm going to throw right that same line to her elbow. So if she flattens out, then I'm going to throw the upper line flat to her head. If she's like this, I'm going to throw this breaking one out to this arm, and if she just moves over, I'm going to throw this breaking one. But if I throw this, look how easy it is for her to block.
I didn't even have to move.
She didn't even have to move. So you remember, if we always follow this line, it becomes hard for your opponent they have to actively make a block. And that same thing. So now I could be doing the same thing as we're moving. Okay? And keeping that perfect distance.
I don't know how to chase you with a pole arm. That's weird.
All right? So I just want people to understand that, yes, we're practicing agility, but the real underlining piece of this is understanding your center. So I want everybody to just give it a little time. Haroon's already done this. I just want you to go ahead and take easy steps backwards, keeping perfect up and down form. Look at my back. Okay? Look at my front here. All right? So all I want you to do is create a little bit of flow around your room, even if it's like S's.
Whatever you can do in the space you got.
All right, just whatever space you have, I want you to find that comfort. Remember, really small feet. There shouldn't be stutters. If you stutter, it's because your feet got big and now you lost your control of this to be able to flow. Okay, I'm going to watch a little bit. I want you guys to all feel comfortable with this. Just like Haroon. You can breathe now. This is where Angie was looking for that place to find calmness. This is that place you can find that calmness. Just let it flow. There you go. Good. It's so easy because we're not using effort.
Oh my God. And then to do this and then do 5 or 6 of the same steps that
We lost you real quick.
the difference is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Awesome. Well, let's highlight a few people here. I want to see how everyone's doing. William, I'd like to see you guys. There we go. Good. Nice change of angles. I like the S there, William. That's great. Good. Now forward. Nice small feet. There you go. Good. Keep those. Yeah, you're doing a really nice job. Look at these. Both of them are keeping nice and low. They're not standing up with their steps. Their head's not moving up and down. This is what makes it hard for your opponent to understand what you're doing sometimes. Nice, William. See how he's doing like long 45 steps, just crossing. He doesn't care where his feet are. He's just letting his center. All right. Nice, Haroon. You're looking good too. All right. Let's see how Haroon's doing here. There we go. So see how Haroon's actually using, he's just literally just allowing, he's giving a little bit of pumps in there and then bursting speed. Yeah, I think he's doing a little bit of the up and down because he's bursting some speed and trying to.
Okay.
So you can see that sometimes he goes up and down, but that up and down is that what he's doing is he's kind of giving a jab foot, making his opponent kind of stop before he moves again. But you have to now, Haroon, let's do it nice and smooth. No up and down. But that was good. You added a couple of things in, and that's what you all have to do.
Now I'm all tired.
I know, that's okay. Now, nice and smooth and breathing. Nice, like it's a meditation. You have to keep your head flat. You keep coming up and down. There, keep it flatter.
If you want to do jabs, Haroon, jabs go forward, not down. He knows.
Yeah, I know. I can see you shaking your head. That's okay.
Smiled Achilles heel.
Uh-huh. All right, let's go over to Craig. Oh, there you go. Nice, Craig. Yeah, keep that good. You're a big guy, so I want you to keep nice and bent. Very nice.
He's been doing a good job.
Yeah, you're really smooth. You have the benefit of having Wilfrick and learning this first out, so that was good. Ah, yes, it's good on the thighs. I know. Isn't that nice? Everybody loves it. Alfred, we're on you. I want to see how you're doing. So does this feel comfortable for you? Is it like, do you get the feel of flow?
Yeah, it does. I'm also wearing a 10-kilo weight vest today, so I got a little more acceleration than I'm used to.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Hey, where'd you score that from?
I bought it years ago from
someplace else.
All right, Grammer, I'm watching you.
Like you guys going?
That's it. I want you nice and high. Get those shoulders back a little bit. That's it. Good. Okay, now slow down. You're doing pretty well fast. I want you to slow it way down now. Change the tempo. Now I want it nice and smooth. You're landing hard. There we go. There we go. Nice and slow. Really nice.
It's like when in doubt, smaller
Remember
steps.
what happens when you accelerate, in your case? You are beginning to go left, right, forward, and backward with your shoulders, not your hips. That's why I slowed you down, because now it becomes obvious you're leaning with shoulders and not with hips.
All right, Bridget, you're looking great, by the way. You're so comfortable. Margarita, those legs look like they're hurting. Make sure you be careful on your back today, okay? So if you have to, sit down for a few minutes and then Big Fist, we're on you. Nice and slow first. A little less jabby foot. There we go. There we go. Remember, sit when you're going backwards. There we go. Good. Margarita, that looks really good. That's much better. Big Fist, that was not bad. I just remember, you guys remember that when we're trying to be smooth, try to be as smooth as possible. So like what's happening is you're taking big steps or something to that effect. So
he's thinking about his feet.
So what? Yeah. So
Big
Rongo's
fist.
saying you're thinking about your feet. So what I see is you're like, and then you stop real sudden. You get a little bit of smooth, and then it's a hard stop. So this time, I just want you to be totally smooth through this whole thing.
Put your focus on your torso and hips.
And I'm just watching my. I'm
Sit
feeling
down.
my. Yes.
Forget about your legs.
Exactly. See what Rongo's saying? So I'm just kind of being smooth, really small feet. Really small feet through these.
Eric, you were doing real smooth.
Germanicus looks
but
nice.
Make sure that your back hip is pointing forward. Don't move forward and backwards sideways.
I need to buy some hobbles.
Germanicus, you're doing well, but you're beginning, as you think about throwing, you're beginning to push your shoulders forward to tuck into your shot like a boxer.
Ooh,
think more about sitting and throwing quick. Don't reach. Extend. Yep. Don't let your shoulders get out of your hips.
I think if he thinks higher on those, maybe. And then when he throws lower, tell him to drop in his low shots when he's doing those. Nice, Blue. Eric, by the way, you look great. Very good, Blue. Those are nice and smooth now. Now, the good part is some of you guys are doing a little bit breaks and some jab feet and then going into smoothness again. And some are doing perfectly smooth all the time. You guys, we show each of these because to tell you the truth, in the end, you both want to be able to do both ways. So do it, so at first I'm just about smoothness. Now I'm going to be a little bit about jab and smooth and jab and smooth and change and smooth and change and smooth. That's where you want to get to. So for those who are just totally smooth, I want you to put some hard changes in there and then become smooth again. Okay? And we do that because that's what a fight really ends up being like.
That's what throws your opponent off. When you change something on them.
If you want to get really good, be like Sir Best and surround yourself with a pack of dogs.
And then dodge the dogs.
Dodge the dogs. Are they all in the room with theirs? That's
like
awesome.
dodgeball, but it's dodge dog.
Dodge dog. All right,
Sounds
go
like
ahead.
A really fun
Let's
game.
see you do them.
Oh, which one am I doing?
Yeah, so it's all smooth first. There you go. Now it's safe.
Just for safety's sake.
There we go.
So I'm paranoid. It's not my phone. I don't want to break it.
And it's interesting because Saib kind of makes the point to this, and that is you also start gaining the ability to feel around you. So we're like, am I going into the rope? Do I need to change because I'm going into the rope? Right?
Am I about to mow over
Am
my
I-
cell phone camera?
Yeah, am I about to mow over something behind me? Right? So this allows us to get that feeling early off because we have to be aware. There you go, good. Come on over here. You want to do it over here?
Oh, yeah.
In case there's not enough room over here.
It's pretty rough over in there. There you go.
There's
Just
some
nice and
really
smooth.
pothole areas
That's the way.
in this
When
yard.
you're moving, you're really smooth. What's your mind?
Nice. If you have a partner, this is what it should look like.
Bring up with your side.
Here we go. There we are. I'm going to be the person leading, so I'm going to push, and she's going to fall right in, and then she's going to fall. Look at how she's just following me perfectly. See, look at this. She is doing such a great job. See how she's always in front of me at the perfect distance. Good. See how she changes that. So that's when you have a part where you end up getting a person that you can be with, that is a great exercise to do. It literally gets you into that connection piece in your fight. You're not pushing. I'm like I'm going forward, and that person's not going forward, and you run into them. Then you're not controlling that range. You want to control that range. All right? This is why we do this exercise. So this seems like a funny exercise a little bit, but what this is really doing is it's helping you understand control. It's also helping you, if you're standing straight up or down, this is very hard to do. It's teaching you to get down into stuff. All right, we'll use that getting down into stuff for everything from throwing and everything else as we move along. So
it's a running way.
all right, so we're gonna go ahead. Everybody take a drink of water and let's set up our pelts. That's very good. You were really good on that. Okay.
Well, yeah. Okay. So the first time I did it, I was trying to like face this way the whole time with the imaginary opponent always here, and then when I started allowing myself to turn, it got a little wild. So this makes me want to go back to that straightforward, even though real fight might not be that way.
So since you're using your
You feel it.
moving first.
And then point
Yeah, let me see if we can. Is your shadow? We're gonna pull it in. Ow! What's that? I know it is like a tiny miniature garage. All right, so Wrongboulder's watching and talking. But this is a great time if you guys have questions. This would be a great time to ask some questions and we can help you. For those that still want to practice, I can see Blue doing this. I'm going to highlight Blue here real quick.
Blue, you're doing a really good job of keeping your imaginary opponent in front of you. Now, as you do this, slow it down a little and imagine every time that opponent moves, you slide laterally as you're moving around. Does that make sense? Yes. So what's happening now is instead of always keeping him in front of you and him potentially, or you potentially in front of him, you keep sliding off his line. So he's always in front of you, but you're never in front of him.
Okay, very good.
I'm pointing that out too, Blue, because you're already doing the other stuff well, so I'm pushing you further.
All right, and you can see Blue's doing this with sword and shield, so what that helps. And you notice if you watch Blue, although he could probably bring his basket a little closer to his shield, there you go, about one basket. Yeah, there we are. We want to make that gap as small as possible, and we want to keep that gap in the same place. So we don't want it, as we go into corners and things, we don't want it to spread and thin and spread and thin. We want to be able to move our feet in whatever way we want and keep our upper body separate from that and keep our defense perfect in that.
I think my hilt is broken because it keeps moving on me.
Ah, okay. All right. So it looks like everybody's pretty good to be set and ready to go. We're just pulling out one more pelt because we got a couple of people here, and that way we can show on one and do on the other. Eric, do you have a pel, or are you going to be watching these? Oh, awesome. Okay. And again, you don't need a pel. You can watch Blue. You could literally put a seat in front of you. It doesn't matter, right? So as long as there's something in front of you that you can use as an imaginary thing to go around or jump to, that's perfectly fine as well. For those of you who have a pel and have been around a while, you know the rules. You can go ahead and use your sword and shield. And the idea is feet first. So if you think you're having a hard time, put them down, then pick them back up. But this is now we're going to concentrate on perfect form all the time. All right. So I'm going to move our pel up a little bit.
You can change the angle a little bit to the side, so
Yeah.
I
will have him.
All right. We might be actually good.
No. Because it fits you with the foot camera too.
Okay. Oh, is the foot camera good?
Yeah.
There we go.
Foot camera?
You guys could have changed it. And try and get some better camera angles going while we set this up.
Still too far.
Bye, Big Puss.
Remember, we got to do long fall ins and jabs on these. So we're going to have those long jab steps.
Further is better.
There we go. Yeah, a little side. I like you angled it. I think it actually.
Remember, we have secondary camera angle. Yeah. That we can switch to.
It is kind of like a film set right now.
Well, and being the first time we've done it outside here, it's all experimental while we figure it out. Kind of like our first couple of times in the garage, we're like, I don't know what to show.
All right. So today we're going to add a little bit of the long step ins, fall ins. We'll may have to move the Pell around a little bit. Louis being smart and reminding me where the camera's really coming from.
Yeah, give us feedback on camera angles. If they're real bad, we can adjust.
Exactly.
We're trying to figure it out.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do the long falls. Now, you have to be aware that these are techniques. A lot of you have been doing them. We have 2 or 3 people that are really newer at these. So, for the people that have been doing it, start with sword and shield. For the people who haven't, I'm going to go ahead and start with no sword and shield, and Saib's going to work, and Louis is going to work into sword and shield stuff. The idea here is you have to get your opponent into this position. And I'm going to show you how to practice this later, but this is a graduating step of how, how to get a person into that position. But here we're going to take some of the steps we use. So here we have, I'm going to do a long gathering step, or actually I'm going to do the first one I'm going to do is a long jab step. Bang, hit, and then back. And then I'm going to step back again. Remember, I went 2 feet forward, 1 step back, so I got to step back again. Long, bang, bang,
yeah,
back.
I don't think this is the camera angle we want. We can't see your feet at all.
Oh, okay. Where the shield was. Right here. Can you guys see this? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's better. It's like looking straight down your back from overhead.
There we go.
Wasn't quite working.
Is this better? I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's good.
I liked it better.
Here I am. Jab, hit, back. Step it back again. Jab, hit, back. Okay, so for the people that are doing this for the first time, I want you to practice pretending you have a sword and shield. For the people that are doing this, the part of your sword that you should be hitting with, the part of the sword you should be hitting with is the last 6 inches. So if you find yourself, bang, and I'm hitting way down here, you're too close. So step it back. Long jab, still too close. You look, I'm hitting about 10 inches in. Hey, hitting with the last 2 inches. This is where I want to be. So I want you guys to start figuring out that distance of how long your jab foot is.
Well, there's 2 ways you can adjust. You can change the size of the jump, or you can change where you start.
And you will have to do both while you're in a real fight.
So practicing both is good.
Okay? So for those, again, if you feel uncomfortable, do it in steps. My long jab, throw, step back. That's 3 steps. As you feel comfortable, I want it all one and really tight. Okay? All right.
Ka-chow.
And we're kind of out of hill.
Yeah, we are.
We're going to move off the hill for a second.
That's an excuse.
You wanted to move it.
Right there.
Probably. I mean, it's all lumpy. It'll be fine. I'll get used to it.
All right, let's see how you do it. Yeah.
Sivrid and William, be careful. It looks like you are lunging using your shield hip, so your feet are ending up linear. You're losing the width of your stance. Both of you are doing it. When you lunge forward, you're pushing that sword hip forward, so you maintain your stance and don't get stuck in a line.
Your turn to
Unhappy arm.
yeah, unhappy arm.
Best, it's hard for me to see clearly, but make sure your sword hip is back.
Nice little quick snap. So I'm going to show you, Louis is armoring up. I'm going to show you guys a trick to help a high breaking snap. So there's snaps, and then there are drags, or what we call hammer shots. So this is a little bit more like the whip. Your hand is nice and loose on your sword, and it's at the beginning you're holding with the back finger, like the front fingers are holding, and then you roll into the back and open the front. You can see the back. I'm holding it with the top finger. I roll down these fingers and open the other ones. You can see that it naturally goes farther forward, and then back up. Top finger, bottom finger. If I'm holding with the top finger all the time, this is all I can go. Now watch happens. Here we are. Again, here I am. I can naturally, here it's all the way out. Just letting go, I can turn this nice down, even just those last two fingers. And as I hold the other ones, it comes back up. As I drop the others, it comes back down. As I hold the other ones, I can actually let go of these fingers and it'll go back a little bit. You see what's happening? I'm not moving my arm, you notice, but my sword is moving. So in a sword shot, that's the end of a sword shot. So as I'm ready to deliver a shot, these fingers collapse and they pull really hard. Bang! Okay, here we are. Bang! So if you're on a pel, you can literally do this in front of your pel. Here's my hand. You notice that no shoulder, no, this is all hand. So in the end of your shot, so you have all of this stuff, but in the end of the shot, that's what you're going to throw into it. So that's just part of a shot. So understand the mechanics of a shot becomes very important. So Louis is going to go ahead and do the jump throw. And I'm going to show you guys another exercise if you have two people there that can help each other. Go ahead and do it first. Are we doing this stuff too? No, we're doing just a long jab.
Jab, jump.
You can do the gather long jab. That's fine if you want.
I find if I pull my heel up and bend my knee a little bit,
yeah, then
I
you're
can
good.
push a whole lot more.
Oh, okay, cool. Finding ways through it. That's key. Yeah, that looked good, buddy. You're too close, but that looked good. Yeah. All right, so everybody go ahead and keep practicing these.
See,
so I'm going to...
getting linear too.
Yep.
So everybody watch, I'm noticing as we mentally get ready to do this lunge, a lot of us are starting to line up our feet to get a good push off, and we're actually losing our stance because we're getting linear and losing our width. This is about starting in stance and ending in stance.
And it is real hard to resist the urge to line them up.
Yep, that's what everybody was doing, was lining them up.
Yep. Don't feel bad, everyone does it.
So here, Ian, I'm going to get on the other side of the pel, and I'm going to show. This is, you can actually build a device, or I'll show it next week. Or if somebody's there with you, you can hold a bar right across the front. And watch when Louis is throwing this jab, he's going to break high, not down, because that's where, this is the shield. Look, he's breaking above my shield. So the idea here is what happens is we're learning to break nice. Look at that. I mean, I could actually literally have my shield eye height here, and Louis is going to turn his sword a little bit at the end, and he's hitting way above it. I mean, in that case, he literally just broke a little at the end, and he's he's way above my sword line. So what we have a bad habit of, and Louis, don't collapse your fingers this time, just hard grip it. If my sword's here and he hard grips, look how he's hitting my top of my shield now. See how he's not breaking that sword at an angle that's much more difficult to shoot. So this is a little bit in sword mechanics, and I want you guys to understand this. The reason why we create these angles is it becomes harder for your opponent to block the shot at the end of the shot. If I'm just in one motion and they know exactly where it is, they know from beginning to end where to make the block. But if I start throwing and then I break those fingers at the end and change that angle, they don't know where it is to do that.
Now,
But
keep in mind, there's three degrees of this. You've got your footwork, with sword and shield or whatever weapon, and then you've got footwork with sword and shield throwing a shot. Remove any part of that until you get the footwork. Remove it all until you get the footwork. When you get the footwork, then add your sword and shield. When you get those both, then add the sword shot. If you're trying to work on a sword shot and you don't have the footwork, it's pointless. You have to build up from the bottom.
Right. And even adding, the point I'm adding right now is a fourth point, and that is in your sword shot, the angle in which you're actually throwing, changing your angle of your hand.
Yep. Which brings me to Craig. Craig is doing the lunge really well. He has his sword and shield in a good position. But Craig, watch your sword when it hits. You are at an angle. Try to get your sword to hit so it is parallel to the ground, if that makes sense. So push your hip a little bit and push that hand up and let that tip drop some so it ends up parallel to the ground and not at an angle. The angle ends up hitting the edge of a shield.
Some of you may find that you end up in a position where your sword and your half gauntlet are actually making it difficult for you to change the angle of your hand. Okay, so what happens is if I had a half gauntlet on that was too big, my half gauntlet would catch here, and then I can't change this angle anymore. Hold on, she's going to go back.
Oh, no, we're on you.
Oh, okay. So I can't change that angle. If I have a better half gauntlet on that's not catching, then I can change it. So if you feel like you're having a hard time, and in fact, I would suggest you all try this. Try sometimes with a sword or with a half gauntlet and without. And make sure your half gauntlet is almost as comfortable as without a half gauntlet. Okay? Otherwise, you may have equipment issue that's binding your hand. And I see this a lot with people that have band braces. They go under their half gauntlet and then they bind. You can't actually bend your wrist because there's no room to bend it. So be careful and understand that we have to understand our armor well. If you want to fight well, your armor should fit you well. Does that make sense? Everybody give me a thumbs up. Awesome.
We're still highlighted, but I couldn't hear, so just see.
All right, so I want to see everybody throw a couple of jabs here. I'm watching this time. And our folks are going to do it too. Good.
Craig?
Good.
Craig? I don't know if you can hear me. Craig.
I'm looking to see. That's what the trigger's for. Yeah, he's here. It's coming through the camera now.
Cool. Make sure you can hear me.
Right.
So I'm gonna throw the shot, and I want you to see the two angles. Okay. So watch me.
He's watching.
So when you're throwing, you're doing this great hip push and push with the hand, but you're hitting at this angle. So anybody with a shield gets an automatic block because of this angle. So do the same thing. Push this hip, push this hand forward, so the sword ends up parallel to the ground. So instead of here, where it's all shield, I can turn.
The key to remember on this one is he's turning at the very end, not at the very beginning.
So this is where I should be when I end, not here.
See how his hand is actually higher than the shield almost? All right, I'm watching. Nice, William. That's the idea. Bess, don't hit your light. All right, I'm watching Bess. They're good. Good. And just like Bess was doing right here, if you didn't, I know we're not highlighting her, but she's leading with that sword. So she literally, her whole body's traveling behind the sword instead of leading with her body and then having a sword trail.
Bridget, make sure your
that's how I
hips pulled back.
Say that again, Bess, if you don't mind.
So I'm short. That's how the only way I can get a headshot is if my hand is over the shield.
Exactly. And that's a good way to remember that.
Bridget, you're doing a good job when you lunge forward to push your hip to get the shot, but because you're starting with you're fighting funny foot, which is fine, but your natural stance is sitting in its comfort place, which means your sword hip is actually forward already. So when you step forward and try to push your hip to throw your shot, you're actually turning sideways.
Bridge, that's
So
because
start
of
in
me.
your stance with that hip tucked back. Your hip should almost be perpendicular to your target. So when you step forward and throw the shot, the hip turns 45 and you don't lose your stance.
Ronvalder, that's because of me. She's my squire, and that's my issue. Like, I don't mean to shut you up, but I taught her wrong, is what I'm getting at.
Yep,
That's okay. We're not looking for blame.
Yeah.
Not looking at all for blame.
No, I'm not saying for blame, but the thing that you showed me to do, I need to show her to do, because she's doing exactly like I taught her.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
So
And
she's
that's
like
the
a
good
mini me.
Yeah, and the good part is you're learning that, and everybody gets to see it here, and we talking about it, and just like
What will help, Bridget, is if you make sure that when you start and when you step and impact during the whole time, your opponent is between your feet. Your feet never point off to the side.
right.
And Bridge, we can talk about that afterwards too, so that I can show you all the things I did wrong, so you don't be me, okay?
All right, and Eric, you're looking good there. Haroon, I'm gonna push you a little bit here. Every time you hit that head, your shot looks wonderful, and then you drop your sword to the ground back into your offense. Right. We don't. That sword should return on the same path if you can. Yeah. All right. Right. So what's happening is in between those, you're losing your head a little bit and letting that sword roll. Bang and back. Because I'm throwing right back at you as fast as you're throwing. Back. There you go. Good. That's what we're talking about, Haroon. So now it's two parts. This fight is not only about throwing it, but also getting it back. And I want you all to take that into thought. This is two parts. It says it's almost more important you get your sword back the same way than it is to throw the sword out. Okay? Because if you don't get your sword back to defense, that's your weakness and people are going to take advantage of it. Does that make sense? Margarita, how are you feeling with these? Okay. I want you to go ahead and raise your hand up a little bit on your throws. You're about mid-body with your hand in the basket hilt. I want that elbow. So be a little careful. I want everybody to be a little careful. I want a little bit of tension in your arm. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that is sometimes we get, I got my sword in my hand and I'm trying to figure out what to do. Here we are. Sometimes we'll get like, I'm lazy and my elbow gets right on my body. To actually throw a blow, I have to lift my elbow and then throw. So there's two motions. We don't want to be tense like this, all body tense, because then we have to relax to actually throw a blow. We want to be in position that this elbow is a little away from the body and that we have a little, like 10% tension in our body. We can literally still move and do those things, but we can also throw in an instant. So the idea is, yes, we want you to relax, but if you're too relaxed, you're making it hard for yourself to actually throw stuff. So I want a little bit of tension. Whenever you guys are fighting, I want you to apply at least 10%, maybe 20% tension in your body. Okay, like you're ready to receive a blow. Okay, and that's the normal space. This is a space you learn to breathe in, be comfortable in. Because the more we're comfortable, the better. Haroon, I'm watching you. You drop that stick, I'm going to start counting. He's like, oh, I know what he's counting for. Looks like Blue has a place he's going. I'm not sure where. All right. That's better. Vern, so I want to see that jab step. I know you're just right now, you're walking around. So I want to, can you go ahead and do that long jab step? I want to see that nice, tight, bursting shot that you have. Vern. Bjorn, sorry. I'm working on it, Bjorn. I'll get it.
No, I was trying to figure out if you were talking to me or not.
Yeah, Vern. So I want to see that jab step.
Not Vern.
Not Vern, but he knows who I'm talking to when I say Vern.
We'll get there.
And Bess, we will get you. I have to get there. So your hand is down and you're striking to the middle. I want you to strike the top of your pelt. The very top. There you go. That's better. Good. That is better. We're gonna make that a little better. I'm gonna pull that from your shoulder later, and that way it's covering the side of your head a little bit, and you're gonna use those fingers to push and break. So we'll. Margarita, that looks so much better. Yes, yes. That looks awesome. Good. Nice little twist there at the end. So much better. Who else we got here? Good. Yeah, that one's done.
Yeah, the internet connection is not quite nice.
Good practice right there, you guys. Williams, that's the way. You can see how you really, when you put that up there, you really can figure out the angles you need to hit. Now change that angle a little bit, Savard. Yeah, there you go. Now follow with the angle. There you go. Perfect. Now change it a little more. There you go. Yes. Yeah. Good. That's the way, guys. That is exactly it. Your opponent is going to show you where to throw. All right, Craig, we're watching you. Remember, nice and tight, push and turn. There you go. Good. Now you make sure you're hitting with the top part of that sword. How you doing there, Grammer? You're looking like you're taking a break.
I don't think I can hate this one any more than I do.
Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that.
Perfect.
All right, for those who have been doing this, I want you to go ahead, and if you're comfortable, I want you to switch your feet and do the same jab step. It's going to be a little different because now your hips are going to be different. Okay? So here's Louis showing his.
What are we trying to do?
Switch foot on the long jab step. In other words, funny foot.
Funny foot.
And
Does that work with
I like that, finding it easier throwing a left-handed. Good, that's nice. And Bess, we'll get you the plans. We'll post the link to the plans on our on the Facebook Messenger. Louis did a beautiful job on plans, so he has a parts list and everything.
Yeah, he made like
Nice,
legitimate
Louis.
building plans.
Those look better than the other foot almost.
Not just
I mean,
a sketch.
Yeah.
Because he's an engineer.
So the good part on this is you could literally start in your normal feet, do a switch foot, and then do the big jump. So all of a sudden we're adding a level of change. And your opponent, all of a sudden, that switch foot will freeze your opponent because he sees you doing something. He might tighten up real quick, and then you're jumping into the range and throwing.
Your head's on top of his feet.
Here, I'm going to get over his feet. That way you guys can see.
Or actually, I'm going to switch to the foot cam maybe.
Yep. Quick.
Further in.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, those are nice.
Now if I can breathe.
Yeah, now breathe in it. Now, like Louis says, he has to find a place, and this is a good chance to do this, everybody. Find that place where you can breathe inside these exercises. Remember, you're supposed to breathe out on the shot. There you go. Okay? Breathe out when you hit that pelt. Let that energy flow out of you.
We're doing switch foot and then doing the jab.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's go ahead. You're going to do, the next one is going to be, we're going to do the jab step, but we're going to break. So here we are. We're going to do that long jab step. Let me get in front of the bell. Bang, and then we're going to break to the shield side, to your shield side. Actually, pick a side. I don't care which side's more comfortable with you. Break to whatever side's more comfortable. All right? So in this case, I'm going to throw the jab, and then I'm going to break to his shield side because that's the safer side against your opponent. So here I am. Bang. And then I can throw a wrap. Okay? Again, all this is long jab, and then a long gather. Okay? One more time. Here we are. Long jab. I might just take this first one, or I can throw it. And then long gather. And you can throw a wrap on that gather. Remember, when you throw that wrap, dish down. If you're tall like Craig or Grimmer, then go ahead, long jab. When you do this gather, throw that big J hook over to the back. Look for the back shoulder.
Use your tallness.
Use your tallness.
Do things us short people can't do.
That's right.
We must live vicariously through your tallness.
All right, so
we're supposed to use our tallness for evil?
Yes. Yeah. And, I mean, you started out evil because you're tall anyways.
It's like, it's fighting. You're supposed to use whatever you have for evil and win the
That's
fight.
right. You're cheating because you're tall, so why not just go all the way? All right, Haroon, I'm watching you real quick here. Good, yeah. So you're rolling off to the sword side. And again, Haroon, I really want your job is to always get back into defense. In other words, stop dragging your sword down in front of your shield. You can drop it after you stop and make it literally stop. There you go. Now stop, and now you can drop if you want. There you go. I want you to always return back into that defense. All right, Bridget, I'm watching how you're doing it. So let's see that long jab and then the nice gather. If you are, there you go. Okay, good. You're doing the kind of the sweeping back step. That's awesome. Let's see it again. Yeah, I like what you're doing, Bridget. You're doing the sweeping back step, which is awesome. I like it.
Is she doing it to the shield side or the sword side?
She's doing it to the sword side. So, oh no, she's doing. Remember, she's funny foot.
That's right.
So.
I was gonna be impressed if she was managing to do it like.
Yes.
The same way I was.
Very nice. Good.
That's hard and weird.
All right, Margarita, I want to see how you're doing. So this is a little different for you. It's the first time. So jab and then gather. Good. That's excellent.
That's actually better.
That's good.
Put your mind on that sword hip. Make sure the sword hip is what you lunge forward. That's better. Do you see how the hip gives you a little more strength in your shot? Take a moment to be in your stance before you go anywhere. Right now. Don't go. Find your stance, then go.
Yes. That was good. Elfwin, I'm watching. I like your pinning shot. So Elfwin's you're throwing a nice like first time pinning shot and then breaking around him, which is a really nice example of this blow. So I'm gonna show you everybody what she's doing. So if I'm side spell, what she's doing is she's literally throwing to pin my sword and then go ahead and go keep the long yep thing. So just tap it and then get back, tap and then go and throw.
I don't understand.
All right. So I'll do it to her. So in this case, what we see is happening here is I'm taking a long jumping step, bang, I hit her sword, and then I'm over here. So that first sword stops. She's thinking she's in defense. I made a great block, all my tension into this block, and then but that's not really the shot I'm throwing. I'm actually throwing this one. So we're gonna do it again real quick. Here I am, bang. Just pop it, bring your sword back, and then back around. All right. that is a really, really nice shot. I'm glad, Evelyn, I'm glad you're doing it, because I think that shows people a beautiful way. That first shot is kind of like a pinning jab. It's just real quick, bang, and then you shift around. So we don't care if we really hit the head. If we hit the head, great. If we hit their sword, I don't care either, because that's what they're focusing on, that first block. And we have 2 shots, not just one. Nice, Haroon. Much better at getting back into your defense.
Eric, you're doing a good job.
He is, for the first time doing this.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job. I'd like to fix his hip, but I don't know if I should mess with that.
Yeah. Just tell him later, next time we're going to do it.
I mean, he can hear you guys talking right now, so.
Eric, if you're comfortable enough and you feel like adding to this, get your sword hip to point at your opponent. Right now, you have you have my old martial arts stance. So I'm not sure which camera you can see me on. So
This one.
this is how you are standing. So this foot's pointing out, this is forward, and it's in a line. Technically, I'm facing, my feet are facing this way, even though you're throwing this way. Technically, you're throwing sideways. So you turn, so your opponent's between your feet. Now I'm throwing forward.
I am too.
Does that make sense, Eric?
Can you guys still hear him?
Can you still hear him, Eric?
He's got his back to the mic now, just because the way we did
Yeah,
cameras.
it's probably too quiet. So I can do it again.
No, I can't hear him.
If he was talking, I couldn't hear him.
So
I was trying to follow what he was doing.
Let me swap back to the other camera so he can actually face the mic.
Yeah.
Oh, someone did switch it back. Dang.
Are we okay? Okay.
I
So
didn't.
what you're doing is your feet are in this position. So you notice my heels are kind of lined up with my opponent. My back foot points out. The problem with this is technically for an opponent to be between my feet, it's over here, and I'm throwing this way. So I'm actually throwing sideways this way.
It is.
Okay. So if I turn my feet, now I'm facing my opponent. Okay.
And
So
Ron Balder, that's what I do wrong, right?
no, yours is different, and I can show you yours in a second if you'd like. So now my feet are towards my target. If I use the Pel, the Pel's between my feet, as opposed to this way where my feet are pointing at it. But see, this is the way I actually want to face, is this 45, okay? So I'm pointing this out, Eric, because everything else you're doing is really smooth and right on. So if you turn your feet to here, so you're throwing forward, you see the difference? Now my opponent's in front of me, and I'm not actually throwing sideways.
Yeah, I see the difference. It's going to be a hard habit to break, but
That's okay. If you want to add it, do it. Like I say, you're doing the other stuff really great. That's why I'm pointing that out now. So Bess's thing, so because I brought this up a few times, this is really important for those who fight funny foot, and for those of us because now we're talking about switching feet a lot, remember? So now you guys want to keep this in mind. When I'm in my stance, normal, right-handed, this hip is prepped. Okay, it's not back, it's not way forward, it's sitting at this comfortable. But when we switch feet, the hip wants to go forward, but now we've lost the power. I can't throw well off this hip. So when I'm funny foot, I have to make sure that this hip gets pulled back. I apologize, I'm gonna have to do it left-handed because of my knee. So I pull it back here. So when I fight funny foot, this is how I fight. Okay? I fight with this hip back. So when I throw, I can push the hip.
And Bridge, that's why I get, when I'll fight, I get too many lights, like my power isn't there. It's because my hips are wrong. And that's what I've been working on. It's been bugging me for about a year, but a year before we stopped fighting, I couldn't figure out why my blows landed, but I didn't have the power generation. And that what Ron Balder is showing is why. And I taught that to you. So yeah, sorry, Bunny.
doing over here? Okay.
Actually, I could feel that power generation difference in that, Ron Walder. Thanks.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
In just a second, Louis is going to show us the falling in passing step. So this is more what we would traditionally think of as taking a step instead of a jab jump.
Right, from farther range.
On that camera.
This one?
Yes.
Probably better on this one over here. So they can see, not behind my shield.
It's kind of not. But...
Okay, so for the passing step, same thing. If you lean way back just to get your balance back, it'll set your height at a very good height. You don't want to be too high when you go through this. So basically your knees have to be bent a little bit. So I like to sit back to figure out what that height is. And then I just slide forward as smoothly and straight as I can with my center. And then throw the shot once I'm at the end of my range of my back foot. By keeping your back foot touching the ground as long as you can, you're hiding the motion forward to your opponent. And then when you do take the step and you've thrown the shot, then we try to recover into our stance. And you can do that right under the opponent at the end of it, and then you can step to the side after. So something more like this. So here I'm in my stance, and I'm well protected, and I can move to either side to throw another shot after that. But I'm underneath and in his guard. So again, shorten it up a little bit. A little bit too far away. Sorry, I was throwing the push step. Stepping through again. Do we have questions?
We got questions, go ahead and ask. If not, everybody go give it a go.
Bess, it looks
See if
like you were
questions
stepping
develop.
in instead of falling in. You're okay. It was me. Remember, your hip has to recover though. Yeah, you're starting with it back now, so you're getting this really great lunge shot. But then once you're in, your habit is to leave it forward. Bang, pull the hip as that foot comes up, let the sword come back, and then fire your second shot.
So just a comment, there are two places to throw in this shot. You can throw right at the start where you're about to, where your back foot is about to come off the ground, where you're like at fully extended reach. If you're maybe closer to your opponent and you can reach them at that point. And you can also throw as your back foot, when it steps through, it lands. You can throw at that point as well.
Timing of the shot varies with how close you are.
Now do both of them so they can see them both.
Okay.
So if I'm closer and doing a smaller step, I shift, I can throw that shot right with this foot as it lands. If I'm way out here, by the time that foot lands, I won't be in range yet. So I shift and I have to get a little closer before I actually throw. So I'm trying to do it in slow-mo, which is really hard because mechanics don't work in slow-mo. But basically, I do my step, I'm still at a range. So I finish that, bringing that other foot forward, and then throw. So there's not a hard, fast rule on when do I throw the shot with my feet. It's
So
it varies.
If I'm a little bit closer, I can, and I'm still fairly far away from my opponent. Can't touch them, but I can throw before my foot comes off the ground by sliding forward and leaning into it before I take a step. So it's right at the end of my reach. That is where I'm throwing. And I'm really hiding moving forward to them because they're not seeing my feet move at all. And then if I'm farther back, I can throw as I'm landing. Like that. Does that make sense to everybody?
Is our speaker still working? Or are people just being quiet?
We're all muted.
Best, a big part of that hip is going to be after you hit. So what I'm seeing now is, I don't know if you can see me on anything. So what I'm seeing now is you starting with your hip. There we go. You're starting with your hip back, you execute your shot, and then you go to your next shot. So the hip never comes back. So the hip needs to go out and back. Bang, 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 right? Bang. So right as you hit and the weapon comes back, the hip comes back almost before the sword comes back. Now pull the hip. Try it without the step. So go back to your regular stance. Make sure your hip's where you want it. Throw your shot and then pull your sword back to its position. Don't take a step. Just go ahead and push the hip. Push the hip into the shot. Now pull the sword back to its start position and your hip back too. Bang, hip back, sword back. Okay.
Nice side. That was.
Yeah, if I wouldn't wind up while I do the side step.
I tell you the truth though, it was that huge. Yeah,
I felt like
it
I
went
went
here. It was almost like as you're falling low.
Yeah, as I did the sideways motion, I went.
Yeah.
I never tried to stop
it.
like 4 tries.
Okay.
And I keep doing it.
Yeah, unfortunately, it feels really comfortable, right?
I'm like, look, there it is.
You added an extra foot in there.
Huh? No?
Yeah, hold on a second. Oh, you did. You're doing a falling step. That's right. Okay, sorry. Yes. Yeah. Like me switch here. Yeah. Lefty against lefty.
Well, because the problem I'm having.
Yeah.
I'm trying to eliminate the momentum and correct your body mechanics. The problem with momentum is you have one direction your body mechanics, even though you move your body left and right or whatever, your body mechanics, you can throw the other direction. So you should be able to, with mechanics, leap to the left, but throw to the right or whatever.
How's it going, guys?
Okay, what I was doing was push, and I just make myself clear. What I was trying to do was get you to do just the shot, so you can feel the body. Once you get
William, are you guys doing the jump again, or are you working on the fall through step?
And that's going to swing to
We were just doing the fall through jab.
Okay, if it looked like a jump, make sure you're actually doing the step. Yeah, that one's the jab jump.
Okay, I guess we're doing the jab jump then, not the fall through, right?
Cool.
You know, it's just a matter of what we were focusing just on variants of the jab right now, and then yeah, so we went to the longer fall through jab. Fall through jab. Okay, yep.
Like I said, I just wanted to see what you were intending to do before I said anything else. So you're good.
So think of my elbow. Push the tip right on the
So what we're doing is just the shot. The whole lunge, left, right, not doing any of it. So try to find your kind of face yourself on straight. Make sure you're hitting that like you've been doing. Okay.
Also, if you're working with a shield, try to keep it as smooth as you can. Try not to let it bounce up and down as you're doing the motion here.
Pull your hip back, your sword back, so you end up with the same.
Oh, I like the. Thanks, Eric, for that point on the military footwork. Look at it. That's awesome. I like her doing that real quick feet thing. Good. So are we still doing the fall ins?
Yeah.
All right, and we're doing the fall in breaks, right?
Fall in break.
So we're doing this. Here we are.
We haven't done those yet.
So remember, let's do 6 to the right and then 6 to the left. Okay, so here we are, fall in, bang, and do it. If you feel really, again, this is part of this is pushing your opponent to where your opponent is going to start in this place. You're going to have to relax your opponent into this place. And I'm going to show with Louis here. We've been practicing this actually a little bit. So this is a relatively complex technique, but I want you guys to sit and listen for a real quick second. So here we are. Can you guys see us? Up here? Okay. So here I am fighting Louis. We're in range. I can't, if I fall in, I'm right on top of him. I can't actually fall in. So what I have to do with Louis is I have to drive him off. So here's what I'm going to do with Louis. I'm going to find out if I can do that. I might be like, and see now Louis just dropped. So Louis is a guy who's going to stay there. So if he just drops and stay there, the first thing that comes to my brain is I'm going to give him a jab foot and then a roll out. So it's like, hey, okay. So, but watch what happen if he's a guy that runs away. See how I focus, I make him run away a little bit. Here I do it again. And then I go back. Now look how much room we have. I created a great distance of room. Now I have to see the plan of when he's coming back. So here I'm going to drive him off. Hey! And then here he's coming back. And then I'm like, bang! As he's coming back, I am timing my fall in. That's how that works. He's not going to line up. Nobody's going to line up perfectly for a long jab foot. They're not going to line up for a falling passing foot. That passing foot is huge. You have to create it. So I have to know how to manipulate my opponent. If I just do a jab foot and he falls, it's still not enough room. Watch what I'm doing here. The exercise. Jab foot, I go back, he goes back. And then as he starts forward, I start leaning, bang, passing foot. I find the time. I'm using all of those same exercises. I use jab foot, a little bit of back step, and then falling passing step, and then I work on whatever way I want to break on that passing step. So that's how we set it up in a fight. I want to make sure you guys know. So here, if you're going to do it on a Pel, you might do it this way. Here I am, jab step. Step back a couple feet, and then do it. Okay? So here I am, normal range. Jab. Jab. Step back a couple feet, set up, and then do your exercise. All right, let's see it. So in this case, we are actually creating the distance. We start in fighting form, quick jab foot, step back a couple feet, and then falling step. But you can see how this is what's creating that distance. And it's actually creating that shot. So remember, jab step, take 2 steps back if you can, and then falling step. Good. Elfwin, that's exactly what we're talking about. That's very nice. Okay. Bess, let's see it. Oh, you're talking to somebody. Forget it.
Talking to Rumble.
Oh, talking to Rumble. Good. Nice. Good. Back. Okay. I think William's just there we go. And then passing foot. There you go. Good, William. That's the idea. See, you're working on that range. That's perfect. So remember, just a straight jab step. Remember, you don't have to be a long jab step. It could be just like literally lift your foot 2 inches and drop into it. So here we are. All you're doing is lifting your foot, and then backing up. So what's happening in this exercise is you're learning a lot of things. You're learning, very nice. You're learning quick jab step. That's a little tiny jab step. This is that little one we do in the ladder. It's not the long jab step. So it's little tiny jab step, walk it back, change my center of gravity forward and throw the long passing step. You see how there's a lot of different exercises going here, right? And then we work on breaking either side of the Pel or either side of that person. The good part about this is these are all pieces that you're putting together and creating a fight. This is you creating the fight. Your opponent's going to tell you if this is going to work or not. So if I give somebody a jab step and they don't move, well, then I know that on the second rotational step, I can actually go around them because they're tensioning down into a block, and now I can transition around them. Nice, but that's the idea. So we're doing the quick jab, step back a couple feet, and then falling step. Okay? Yes, exactly. Nice. So along with that ooga booga, you're learning if they're backing up or not, but you're also learning if you can do a different opportunity. You're also learning if you drop backwards, if they come with you, then you're controlling their tempo and can actually use that as something. There's a ton of different things you're learning when we're doing each one of these. And the biggest piece is you're learning what your opponent's going to do. The more you understand what your opponent does, the more likely you can take advantage of them. And that's what this is about, right? I mean, this is unfortunately, and fortunately, unfortunately, I could just keep running you through drills. And we are running through some drills, but now I'm kind of adding on layers of a drill. Ultimately, you guys are going to put these layers together, and you're going to manipulate your opponent with whatever shows weakness. Okay? So that's really where you're learning. I'm trying to help you learn how to put many things together and what to look for. We don't need to go out and throw blows, one-shot blows all the time. Believe me, a one-shot isn't somebody standing there just taking it. It's me manipulating them into tension or whatever, and then creating that one-shot blow. It's not them just giving it to me. Nobody wants to give a one-shot away. I earn it, and the way we earn it is through this method.
When you do this, though, you're not doing it all in a row, right? You're mixing up things and then coming back to the kill shot later.
100%. In fact, usually, so just so you guys know, at first you'll try these and you're going to probably grab onto one thing. In my head, I'll add a bunch of different exercises and I'll pick 2, 3, 4 items where I see that they're weak. And then I'll go back and see which one looks like it's the most successful, and then I'll execute that one. Meanwhile, I still have 2 or 3 items in my queue that I can go back to if I have to. All right, so that's that game of chess. Everybody wonders how you get to that game of chess? You guys are doing it right now. You guys are learning how to find out what your opponent's going to do when you apply technique to them. All right, so that's you know, again, there ends up being a little bit more talk here. I apologize for that, but this is the talk that I think I really want to get you guys to understanding. Okay, you're doing the fallout that way, so try that low inside leg.
Recovered way out here like an idiot.
Ah, yeah, you got to keep it tighter. Yeah. So what Saib is saying is she's recovering a little high, which leaves her without a shot on her second one.
Which makes no sense.
Right.
Because I'm like
here, and then she's way up there.
And I don't know why I'm doing that.
Right. So one thing you can do is you can do that drop offside leg if you start in that high position. Yes. Okay. So go ahead.
I always want to do this.
Yeah, and it's going to be weak. Right. Exactly.
Most of the time.
Good. There you go. Good. That's that inside leg.
When I recover here,
yep.
I can do
it's
that.
easy to throw. Exactly.
Recover here, you kind of can, but it's
yes.
a little awkward.
So go ahead and try that recover high dropping offside leg. Yes. So in this case, what I'm doing is I'm asking her to try a little bit of a different shot on her second shot. There. That's a nice shot too. So she went from inside sliding leg to the offside moulinet to the body or leg. So so remember, as we're practicing these, think about the normal natural motion that you throw blows with, because you can apply different types of blows depending on which side you drop on your opponent. So, you know, in one way she might apply a cutting inside leg, where the other way she applied the offside moulinet to the leg. Okay, Louis is just experimenting here, so he's thinking about an exercise there. So let's see. I'm gonna go ahead there. That's it, Elfwin. On those fakes, Elfwin, I want you to be a little stronger in both legs. So like you're giving a good drop on one leg. Think of giving a little bit of drop on both. That extra body motion and energy tends to pull your opponents into more tension. And you're actually not using tension. You're actually just literally lifting your feet and dropping into them. I think you're on. If you're talking, you're on mute. There you go.
There we go. Yeah, I missed part of what you were saying. What's
okay. So be aware. What I picked you up doing a little bit was you're like you give a little bit of tension on one foot, but then you lift on the other one. So you're like this. So it throws your body a little, and it doesn't actually portray a really hard fake. So think about when you're doing that drop set, just literally both feet drop.
Okay.
And that so it'd be like me giving you like one of these. Here, I'm just dropping here. That's a fake, but it's not very convincing. Where if I go, hey, and I drop both,
right,
and that whole body's dropping, it's a better fake. And if it works, I can still throw because my body's not leaning on one leg.
All right, because I was trying to do get a little bit of tension close, fall back, relax. When my opponent relaxes, then pump in. But you're right. If I'm not creating that tension convincingly,
exactly.
It's not
And that's a perfect example because it's actually a problem we had when Side's looking.
That's what I've been trying to bust for the last year, is how to make my fakes be even vaguely convincing.
Right, and she's actually doing a really nice job. So like if she's fighting me,
I started with a whole lot of
ha! Yes, exactly. So now she literally looks where she's going to throw, and she gives me that, and she gives you, notice how she like changes her eyesight, like she's going to throw.
They probably can't see that through the camera.
So, but she's literally looking at the spot she's going to hit. And then all of a sudden, her eyes and everything draw me to that space.
Okay.
So be committed to that fake.
Oh, yeah, and
that goes for everybody.
Hand. One of my other bad habits before was the hand would stay completely relaxed. So I'm doing this, and the sword's just like, la.
And I don't care.
Scary, but...
And now she's changing that top edge. The top edge actually starts a little bit, and I'm worried. And all she's doing is adding tension to her hand. And now she looks over my shoulder. And now I'm like, okay, where is she going? So it's very hard to see in the camera.
It's a lot of little stuff.
But those really, the eye focusing, like literally, like take your eyes and like you're hitting them with your eyes, you know, that type of deal. So Sigrid and William, I want you guys to think of that same thing. You guys could do this in front of each other. Okay? So what I want you guys, Sigrid, William, you guys have each other. I want you to stand in front of each other, and I want you to throw a fake, and I want you guys to really read it. In other words, if it doesn't look like a good fake, don't move. But I want you to think about first, just kind of give him some foot stomp. Next, trying to give him a little bit of sword. But in the last piece, I want you to like almost push your eyes and your head into that position, like where you're going to throw it. Commit everything in yourself.
Yeah, you know how they tell you not to look where you're going to throw? When it's a fake, look where you're going to fake. You want them to think you're throwing there. So give them the tell. Also, fun ways that we found to get a better and more convincing fake is to take advantage of these ladder drills where we've already trained ourselves to be in tension and move in and out at the right pace. For the one we were just doing where we give a push and then back up and go into this other one, I'm literally just doing one in and out. I go in and back, but it's real fast.
Yes.
And it works.
It actually works. We're like, oh, that's where you use that. Or if I'm too close, watch her do one while we're close. Yeah. Now she's doing not even in and out. She's doing literally doing that side to side.
Because we've been doing it on the ladder and you're already pre-poised to, I go in and then I back out. You've got that tension already.
Yeah,
so it's a lot more believable because you're not just going.
Yeah, that close one is interesting.
You're going.
Not the in and out, or yeah. Or in and out, the side to side one.
The side to side.
Well, move out so maybe my feet are in the camera. But yeah, it's literally, we're here and I'm just going.
So now I don't know. She's stepping this way and then she steps this way, right? So when we do that out, it's literally looking like she's stepping this way, then she looks like she's stepping this way, and then the feet come back together so she can throw a blow. So it's very interesting. So even some of the exercises that I was like, well, these are good agility, ended up being actual exercises that are used in our fighting.
Started finding places they legit straight go into the fight.
Did you add the ki to the fake?
So yeah, and the last piece of a real fake is allowing that air to go out of you as well. So in other words, and this is part of back to the air piece, breathe. So if I'm going to give her a fake on this drop, and I was like, here I am, I go, hey! Now all of a sudden, now I'm going to really look like I'm going to hit that spot with my eyes and air. And now she's like, oh! All of this energy is like literally blowing out at her. What's good for me is I'm exhaling all that bad air and I'm bringing back in good air and I can do something. So we're learning just, if I don't know her, that's the first thing I'm going to do. And now I see if she runs backwards, if she tensions, if she stays where she is. I learned 3 things right there.
How jumpy am I?
Right?
What do I do?
So this is how we're learning what we can do on our opponents. So just a real quick on it for one. We're going to go back to this real quick. Is everybody kind of, is this, I'm hoping this isn't going over everybody's head. I'm hoping that we're communicating some of these things that you guys need to know and you can see how they fit together. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. You guys don't mind Oh, good. You guys don't mind that I'm adding, we're doing a little bit more talk and that I'm adding more things to these pieces because now we're getting into the real fighting piece, right?
Theory part of class.
It's
Sandra?
making a lot of sense to you, Grace. I can't do anything much further with my knee, but I'm writing everything down, and it's just clicking and making sense. Because there was a while back, a couple of years ago, in a tournament. I have a thing. My elder's a cat. Like sometimes I hiss when I'm being pressed. And wait, no, I got my shit. And I was like this. Oh, I was guarding a buckler, and these people lined up in front of me like that forward at them, and they all jumped back, and they called it that moment that I won. So like, I did not make sense. I'm writing everything down. I'm visualizing, and it's just brilliant. Things are clicking. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yay!
But I'm just going to put camera because I'm lying up the sofa. I feel lazy.
That's okay.
Okay, I'll leave the camera.
So how's everyone else feeling about these? Does somebody else have anything to say?
No, I think it's really useful. There's a couple of times we haven't heard exactly everything just because we're outside, and so when we're working on something, sometimes we've missed when you've gone into a couple of things. But mostly, it's actually been really, really useful because it puts in. I mean, it's one thing to just be doing the Pell work and just doing the Pell work for itself. You know, it seems like after a point you're like, well, why do I keep doing this week after week? And it really builds a lot when you add that to it.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure everybody's happy the way the fight practice is going. Because again, this is all of our fight practices. So I want to guide it in a way that you all feel like you're learning something from it. Germanicus, are you good with it? Thumbs up or down? Or awesome. I hope that gator's working for you. You've been had it out all day, so that it must be working okay. So, well, I think
there is one thing I'd like to say. You guys, the three of you, I've gone back and rewatched the videos a bunch of times. And the reality is, you guys really don't get very much practice in. You're donating this time to us. And I really notice it when I go back and I watch the videos. So I want to say thank you very much for donating this time, you know, to all of us, but to me in particular, because, you know, I'm the center of my world. So I really, really appreciate that you guys are willing to forego a really super practice so that you can help all of us. Thank you very much.
I will tell you, and I keep telling you guys, and I really, my best part, and I know, I'm sure these both feel, and I know Ron Balder feels the same way as me, is that helping others is, me and Ron Balder's practices are pretty much always helping others. And that's what we love, and we've done for 30 years. And that's what makes our best practices, to tell you the truth. So you guys, I mean, as much as you feel like we're, you know, kind of leading that practice, you guys, like this feedback and all the feedback you guys have given us have been, just makes our day, and it makes everything worth it, and it really feels like a fight practice even though you're not here. And I think that's the biggest piece, is the best martial art communities is fed by everybody, and you guys are doing that, and that's the best part of this. Even if you're brand new, you are doing that because you're here, you're exciting us because we get to see you grow. I mean, there is nothing more exciting than if we're just doing the practice over and over again and not seeing people grow, and then that would be old. But it is not that. I mean, we had Eric on this week, and he looked great for his first week, right? And it's fun being part of this group. And that's, you know, I've watched Sivert and William. William, I don't even know what kind of crap he's going to do.
Lightning.
He's like
man.
lightning on his feet. I am totally amazed with him. I can't wait to see it. And tell you the truth, Louis had a couple things he said today. I'm like, man, I didn't even think of that, and he nailed it. I mean, like your hips while you're standing or bent down was a beautiful example. It was just the same thing me and Ron Balder talked about. Ron Balder brings up stuff, and I'm like, man, that makes so much more sense to me than even how I explained it, right?
We're all learning together.
Plus, we're learning to teach.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. It was like I may not be getting as much of the fighting practice, but I'm getting a lot of teaching practice. So that's good.
Well, and in all honesty, this is stuff I've been fighting 10 years at this point. This is stuff I never had.
Most people don't.
So
go watch videos. 95% of what you see of people, they don't have the movement. They barely move, and when they do, they don't even know why they're doing it.
Yeah, it's astounding.
Yeah, at some point, if you guys get a chance, go all the way back and look at maybe the first video you guys were in, and watch what you're doing there. And then take a look at the last video you're in, and and see the difference, because I want you guys to appreciate it as much as we do, because it's hard when you're doing it yourself. You're like, oh, I'm doing this terrible, and then you go look at it like, oh, I'm doing that much better than what I was. Holy crap, right?
My favorite is looking back at the videos that we made of me teaching the ladder drills like 8 months ago, and I'm like, oh, I should maybe redo
Or
those.
case in point, the whole motion of freezing opponent stuff that we just talked about.
Yeah.
I was thinking about some fighting videos I saw earlier, and granted, I was a wreck, and Bronos has seen part of that wreck. But in one tournament where I actually went deep, looking back on it, looking at the video footage, I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, that's what I did right.
Exactly.
I didn't even know it.
Exactly. And I mean, I can just, person after person here, right? I mean, you have Bess and Elfin who both knights and very good at what they're doing. But, you know, the good part is, even as a knight, you have to practice being better at everything. And I could tell you, me and Rongvalder, we are doing this footwork at the same time you guys are. We just started learning this.
Yes.
Okay? I mean, really, we are doing it with you. And we're learning with you. So I want to make sure you guys know that. Me and Rongvalder hate it. Absolutely hate it. We're like, I don't even know where to start anymore. I'm a newbie.
It's mostly because it feels unfair, quite honestly. You guys get to learn it. We have to unlearn and relearn.
I'm waiting for it to get easy. It's been like a million years. It's still not easy.
Never gets easy. It just gets possible.
We'll just find something else. That's all.
I hope you never feel bad about the talking part, because I feel with just the drills and the Pell work, I'm like a second-year meta student. They say second-year meta students know just enough to kill people. Well, I think with fighting, it's the opposite. I know just enough to kill myself. But with the talking, it makes it more real, so I have a real-world application.
Yeah, so you know where it's going.
How you pull it together.
I totally identify with that. All I wanted to say was I want to say thank you for moving the time for us in Europe. And thank you for doing that for us.
No, it's really been fun having the folks from Europe and you know.
Yeah, international fight practice is
it's super cool.
You can't get rid of us now. You're stuck with us. I'm sorry. You're not going to get out of us.
Can I ask a question about the whole thing about not responding to your opponent too much, like came up online during the week? So how, okay, so a lot of people think that what you do is you put everything else away from your mind and you just focus on your fighting. I'm particular now, obviously, Brandos, I want to, and Ryan, I want to hear from all of you guys, but I particularly want to hear from Sive about this, because I know your mind works the same way as mine. So I'm particularly interested in hearing that whole focusing thing.
Focusing during a fight?
So actually, let me show you.
I'm still working on that.
So grab your shield. I'm gonna show you something where actually we had to work with her on this.
Which thing?
Hold
I
on.
don't even know.
So this is actually your mind.
It's only one thing, right?
The believing. So this is what she's talking about is calmness in a fight. So we are teaching people. We're trying to teach people how not to be calm. In other words, how to react to fakes and keep their tension up and hold all those things. And what Angie's talking about is how do we do that but be calm in a fight? So Saib actually absolutely hates when I do this. So she'll run around and I'll give her no feedback physically. My body, I keep all that feedback in. I'm still thinking, Angie, but the piece here is I don't want to give her feedback and I just have to be in perfect form. And what I mean by that is I know exactly where my block and defense is. So I'll sit here.
I'm running around and I'm throwing everything I can think of and he barely moves.
Okay. And I am just
I'm doing
watching.
all the fakes and all the things.
Now, that sounds like it's easy to do. It is very difficult to do. How we practice that exercise, I'm going to show you. So we will stand within distance. And I've made Saib do this because she had a bad habit of falling back.
I ran away from everything all the time.
And she took a lot of power out of her because she ran away every time she got into this position. So I told her, you're going to step in and fight. And then she had to find that place to be comfortable while she's in.
Yeah, I was told I wasn't allowed to back up anymore.
So
I just had to stay here and figure it out. And I spent a lot of time blocking and not doing anything else. But I got real comfortable with my defense, and so now this is a much more comfortable place to hang out, and I can carry on a conversation at the same time.
Right, you notice she was literally, so the idea is I can't move my feet, but we're gonna get in throwing distance, I can't move my feet, and I'm gonna do all this stuff, and she can't move her feet, and she's gonna learn to block. After a while, what happens is your defense becomes a technique. It's not an active thing in your brain of doing something. It's no different than throwing a blow. I'm gonna make this block this big because I know it's exactly the technique I need. It becomes natural. And when something becomes natural, you don't have to think about it.
Yeah. So,
and then you could start thinking about other stuff.
From my perspective on that, if we're going to dig specifically into my brain, if I'm understanding your question correctly, you're kind of getting into everybody talking about their no-mind stuff during fights, and I don't have that, and I probably never will. But it gets me close enough to function is kind of what he's talking about. Is I think of it more as desensitization. Okay, I don't have to think about my defense and I'm not scared anymore. So panic mode has deactivated. So my brain is free to still think about doing the fight now. Or a big thing with the our mic fell over. Big thing with the no mind everybody talks about is like there's nothing else. It's just me and the fight and my opponent, and there's nothing else going on. And again, that's never going to happen for me. So, I don't compartmentalize real good because that's not how my brain is wired. So for me, it's more about just, again, desensitization is more of I've got so comfortable with this thing that it's not a distraction anymore. It doesn't ring those ADD bells or whatever. It doesn't take as much of that executive function that I have limited amounts of. So it's, yeah.
So a good example of that is the first time you drove a car. You get real tense and real nervous because you got all this information happening as you're driving, and you're seeing everything in like hyper detail, like all the cars around you, all the people walking, people crossing the street, whatever. Everything that's happening is a lot of information happening and overwhelming in your head. And then over time, you start to learn to really ignore most of that and be able to focus on, you know, your next turn or switching a lane or seeing if somebody's, you know, somebody else is driving poorly. Yeah. But that whole idea of being able to forget about all that other stuff that you really doesn't affect you, and letting all that go and just focusing on the things that you need to focus on, you know, that should help explain it a little bit.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's cool. I love the way that you're comparing it with driving, because that's usually the analogy that I make. You know, if I'm teaching somebody, it's like, yeah, it's a little bit like driving. You know, it'll get automated at some point.
Yep.
Great. Yeah, I've got the same brain, and I also really enjoyed your coach's corner as well. We have the same brain structure and the same issues with distraction and compartmentalization. So,
one of the biggest and best things that I have done for myself, that is of course still a work in progress, like everything is let go of the idea that I'm ever going to be able to do it this other way that other people do, and just it's very freeing to just be like, nope, that's not a thing that my brain is capable of doing. And then I stop wasting time trying to do that and banging my head into a wall with it, and instead spend my time finding the way that does work. And for us, that's been a lot of this, let's break it down into its million component pieces, and I can then slowly build those and put them together. And by the time we work our way back up to the whole thing, it's become that automated process, and now it's not an overwhelming. And so, okay, I still have to think about it, but it goes a lot easier. It doesn't kill off the brain resources. I've got some left over to do strategy.
That's awesome.
So,
and they,
that's really helpful.
Both me and Wrongwell are back here. We were just talking, and both of these are nailing everything we were just thinking about. It's funny because Louis just used the driving resource, and Wrongweller came over, he was going to use it, and then Louis totally got it.
Yeah. Wrongweller usually comes in with, so tell me, when you're driving, how do you turn left? And we all go, you turn left? And then he lists off the like 18 things that you actually do in the middle of turning left, and you're like, oh, there's a lot in there. But eventually, you just turn left. Wow. So, yeah.
All right. Any other questions? I think we'll probably wrap up for today. I hope everybody had a great time. I know we did. It was beautiful out, and it was incredible to just practice with you guys.
Thanks for
That was
listening.
an excellent workout. Thank you very much.
Yay.
Awesome.
That was great. Awesome. Thank you.
Have a good week.
Have a good week. Everybody stay safe, please.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.